Chance favors the prepared mind on bad movies rule, the worst movie podcast ever recorded. And today, the manimal Bob Hauser is out of the cage and in the studio. And the human movie database, Ryan Farrell, is in the house. Let's go. We're talking about Under Siege 2, Dark Territory.
All right.
Not light territory, not the undiscovered territory.
Not even gray territory.
No, dark
Yeah.
territory.
Very dark.
I didn't know Tracy Morgan was in this movie.
We've had some really good subtitled movies, you know, talking about the American Ninja series with the confrontation and the annihilation, and then you got Dark Territory, and this is always fun for me, the way they try to, we don't want to just call it Under Siege 2. That's dumb. Well, we got to come up with something good.
Yeah.
Dark Territory.
Yeah.
Now people are going to come see this movie.
Do you know why it's called that?
Why?
Because the original screenplay that Matt Reeves wrote in college was simply called Dark Territory.
Oh.
And then when Warner Brothers optioned it, they were like, hey, let's just turn this into a Casey Ryback movie.
They just hoard out his script.
Literally. They took it and they were like, we're going to just make a sequel to Under Siege and we're going to use your screenplay that we optioned from you.
I'm glad you brought that up. Well, let's just dive straight into the vitals here, because you brought up the name Matt Reeves, and the first question I had when I started making this outline is, what the hell is Matt Reeves' name doing on Under Siege 2?
This was his college screenplay. The other writer that you see credited there, right?
God
yeah,
bless him.
so
I know,
Richard
right?
Hatem?
Yeah. That was his roommate or something like
God.
that.
That's awesome.
So Matt Reeves and this dude, Richard Hatem, they wrote this in college. And it was part of that, you remember early 90s was like the big action movie boom?
Yeah.
You had like Shane Black getting paid ungodly amounts of money to write Lethal Weapon 3 and stuff like that.
This is like Speed on a train.
Right. Or Die Hard on a Train.
Die Hard on
so
a
that
Train
was it.
or whatever, right.
There were people like Long Kiss Goodnight. Who wrote Long Kiss Goodnight?
Shane Black.
Was it, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Directed by Rennie Harlan.
Yes. And then Shane Salerno, who's a different guy. But did he write Last Boy Scout, I think?
Last Boy Scout.
Yes. So like these screenwriters were getting paid millions of dollars for spec scripts.
Yeah.
This was like part of that, where Matt Reeves and his buddy were like, well, let's dive into this. Like, this is what's popular.
Yeah.
Let's do it. And
I just didn't expect to see his name anywhere near.
Oh, yeah,
For
I know.
those of you who don't know Matt Reeves, he's the Planet of the Apes guy. He's obviously just done the most recent Batman adaptation,
right.
with Robert Pattinson, and here he is.
Yeah.
When I looked it up, I had to. I was like, oh, this has got to be a different Matt Reeves.
Nope.
No,
It sure
that's
wasn't.
the one.
It's the guy.
The guy who's friends with.
He also did Felicity.
I was just gonna say he created Felicity.
my
Everybody,
favorite show.
Right.
friends with J.J. Abrams since childhood, and here we are. We got Under Siege 2, Dark Territory.
We reversed the. We usually do writers after the director, but with Matt Reeves' name on it, we had to start there.
Yeah.
Movie was directed by Jeff Murphy, who is back for a second time.
Right.
Which usually doesn't happen, because usually the movie they did that made it onto our show was the last movie they ever made.
Oh, no,
But in
Jeff
this
Murphy.
case, Jeff Murphy.
Murphy's a good director. He's also good. He's a good what's the term?
Like a working man.
He's a working man director.
Yeah, he directed Free Jack.
Yeah,
which was on the
Free
show.
Jack.
I think he's done several episodes of CSI, one of the CSIs. And
Yeah,
just
it looked like
TV
he's
stuff.
done lots of stuff since then. And so he's a working director.
Yeah. Well, and he was a really popular New Zealand filmmaker too before he did his Hollywood thing. He made a movie called The Quiet Earth in the 80s, which
So by all accounts, a nice, cool dude.
Yeah.
Poor guy to come over here to America and work with Steven Seagal, who stars in Under Siege 2.
Dark
Territory.
I like Jeff Murphy's I like Jeff Murphy's comment about the editing process.
Did he? Oh, tell me what he said.
He's something because Seagal was notoriously controlling over.
No.
Oh.
No. You're talking about the Steven Seagal himself?
Yeah.
The Aikido master,
Yeah.
the push you over guy,
He had a little bit of a control issue.
Tum Tum.
That's shocking.
Yeah, I know.
He was able to get up out of his chair to bother anybody.
I mean, they speeded up. They speeded up for him to climb out of a window.
Yeah, a lot of things. A lot of speed ramps. A lot of speed ramps just to make him look faster.
Oh
Seriously.
my God!
But Jeff Murphy had said something about that during the filming. that, you know, Seagal was just like, he would just show up when he felt like showing up and do his thing, do this, that, and the other. And then Jeff Murphy had made a comment about the editing process, like, I don't know where this guy came from because in the editing room, he was a beast.
Oh.
And it was one of those things where Seagal would come in and like, you know, like, oh no, we're not using that one. We're not using that one. We're not using like.
Isn't it crazy? Yeah. This episode, I'm going to try to keep it from happening, but I'm sure it's going to at some points. It's going to devolve into stories of Steven Seagal being a huge wanker. But, you know,
there's a lot of, he's not getting a lot of good publicity. I mean, after I found out he's friends with the, guy, then you know who over
that
Russia,
guy.
You're just kind of like,
we're not, we're not.
You're just say the name so that the computers know we talked about it.
Right.
You're just like,
guy.
I can't be cool with you, man. I can't.
You shall not be named.
I can't be cool with you. And then you got all the, obviously the women coming out saying that.
Well, we'll get in. I've got a whole bit planned for that with Steven
But I do
Seagal
have to say
on.
this, just going to get this off my chest now.
Yes, please.
What a great supporting cast.
Oh, yeah. So let's talk about who else starred in this movie. We got Eric Bogasian, I think that's how you say it. Everett McGill, Katherine Heigl, Morris Chestnut, and then
Kurt
all
Woodsmith.
of those 90s bad guys.
Yes.
Peter Green.
Peter Green.
I like
Mercenary
every
one.
time. I feel like
I love Peter Green. I literally want to say Under Siege 2 with Peter Green.
That's right.
I want to make a movie and cast Peter Green as like a sheriff,
A good guy.
just to be like, hey, can you do?
Is it possible?
Guy? Like,
I'm sure he could. I'm sure he can.
Right, because
The cast is a good guy.
for those of you who don't know who Peter Green is, Peter Green was Zed in Pulp Fiction.
yeah.
He was the bad guy in The Mask with Jim
Dorian.
Carrey.
Dorian Gray. He was Dorian Gray in The Mask.
Yeah, he was the fence in Usual Suspects.
Redfoot.
That Redfoot, thank you. That gets the Baldwin, or he hits Baldwin in the eyeball with a cigarette in that movie.
Yep. He does a lot.
Accidentally.
No.
One of Dennis Leary's henchmen in Judgment Night.
Yep.
Yep.
I mean, every time he shows
He
up.
was the bad guy in Blue. He was the main bad guy in Blue Street.
main bad guy in Blue
that's
Street.
right.
Yes.
Deacon. Yeah.
This guy.
Anybody order a pizza?
Oh, I love Peter Green. All
Hey,
around.
when are we gonna do Blue Street? Because I love
Come
that.
get your pizza.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there's a bunch of other henchmen along with these guys. I'm like, I know these dudes.
Right.
A lot of stuntmen
lot of
from
those guys.
a lot of the guy that got the darker shade American guy. I don't know his ethnicity, but the guy that got set on fire.
Oh, yes. He's been in tons of stuff.
He's a stuntman.
Jonathan Banks is one of the henchmen
Yes.
in this movie. Coming back again from Armed and Dangerous. We've had him on the show before.
He was
Couple
great
times.
A few times.
He was great in Beverly Hills Cop as, the bad guy in that, Jonathan Banks.
The budget for this movie was, now hold on to your underwear here, boys.
Oh, boy.
$60 million
That makes sense
for this train movie
for this train wreck.
that made
Oh,
$104 million. $104 million at the box office.
Can you say that again?
$104 million.
Yeah, Brian, $104 million.
Not
great.
enough.
That's great.
Not enough to make a profit, but
$104 million.
because they spent way too much on this thing. The movie currently sits. Are you guys already fighting about
Yeah,
this?
we are.
I didn't say
He fired me up yesterday about
didn't
it.
say that it wasn't a successful movie.
This is a bad movie. I go, how? How is it a bad movie?
Anyway,
All right, well, I can't wait to get into it with you guys. Here's what the people think about that question, Bob. Since you broached the topic, how is it a bad movie? The users on IMDb have rated it a 5.5.
yeah,
Fair.
below the line of demarcation.
The Air America line of demarcation.
I love fives.
I know you do.
34%. So 2/3 of critics hated it. 34% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Well, it wasn't a
And-
Marvel movie.
2/3 of the audience hated it. It's 38% audience score.
Wow.
So there's three of us. It's obvious at least 1/3 loves this movie.
Yeah.
Maybe I do. We won't know yet. And I think 1/3 of it.
You don't know.
I'll come out of the bag right now. I love this movie.
You don't know what I'm gonna say in the end.
We never know what you're going to say in the
I'll
end,
tell ya.
Ryan. That's
If I say something smart and freaking Christopher Nolan Inception mind-bending crap that'll make you scratch your head and yeah.
Just because I have a personal affinity for Christopher Nolan,
You would
doesn't
drop-
mean
you would
I
kiss his
expect-
fart box.
Doesn't mean
All right?
I
You would
expect
kiss his fart box.
everybody to like Christopher Nolan. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
How is his movies doing?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Bombing? Really?
they're
Really?
bobbing.
The backwards one.
multi-billion-dollar club.
What's that,
Where's Steven Seagal in that?
I'm not
Tenet
a
do
Steven
well?
Seagal fan.
Did Tenet do really well?
No.
Tenet did not do well.
Oh, see.
Oh.
All right, that's
To be fair, he
So
was
Quinn-
being stubborn. Like, who was just like, oh yeah, we spent $800 million on this. Let's just release it during the pandemic. Good call, Christopher Nolan.
Are you going to use the COVID-19 as an excuse for why your movie failed?
It literally was the first movie to come out during the pandemic.
That's true.
But anywho,
I respect Nolan that he gave people a reason to go watch a movie when there wasn't a lot of movies to go.
No one wanted to watch that movie.
and no one wanted to watch.
I just wish he would have released one I wanted to.
What was it?
That's
He didn't. What was the dumbest line in that movie? The bullet thing. What was it? He didn't shoot the bullet. He caught the bullet.
He caught the bullet. Yeah.
Eat my ass.
Look, I didn't. I know, because I really didn't like Tenet that much.
This is not going to turn into a takedown of Tenet. Okay, we got to keep focused on dark territory.
Yes,
Morris
dark
Chestnut's
territory.
masterpiece.
Speaking of Morris Chestnut, just to piggyback off what you said about Matt Reeves, Morris Chestnut also was on the DL Hughley radio show podcast and talked about how much, and he did 2 movies with Seagal.
Half Past Dead, where he played a villain.
He played the main villain in Half Past Dead.
He was like, he's terrible to work with. And yeah, call time at 8 o'clock, show up at noon, like that kind of bull crap.
Yeah.
But then also was just an inconsiderate person, and then went on in detail to talk about how much he beat up the stunt guys constantly throughout the movie.
So he pulled a Bruce Lee from what the legendary thing is.
What a, it just...
He had a problem pulling his punches. We'll say that.
What punches? His slaps? His karate slaps? I think it was more him just throwing guys around. Like, he wasn't really...
Yeah.
You know, we'll get into the fights as we go through this movie. But let's get started. Before we jump in to the plot, I just want to tell you guys, thank you for listening. We appreciate that you guys are here. The show's been growing, and we are still a listener-supported show, and you don't hear ad reads on here. We're supported by our listeners on Patreon, and so if you've been enjoying the show for a while and you think to yourself, you know, I'd like more BMR content, there's bonus episodes, bonus recordings. We just launched a whole new podcast called Good Movies Rule, where we talk about movies that wouldn't qualify for Bad Movies Rule. Our first episode was Predator. If you'd like to hear that, that's a monthly release also on our Patreon. So to get all this bonus content and at the same time support the show, it's as little as $3 a month. You can go to patreon.com. It's all in the show notes too, the links. Patreon.com/badmoviesrule, and you can sign up there. And we would it's been awesome. The people that are on there supporting the show, we love those people, and we do fun things with them every once in a while. We'll do watch parties, all kinds of things. So jump in, and we just very much appreciate everyone that's supporting us right now. Thank you.
You know it. Cost of a cup of coffee.
That's right.
One day.
One cup of coffee for the whole month.
One day. Just make coffee at home.
Or
throw a couple bucks at your boys.
Throw a couple bucks over here, especially for Bob over there.
That's right.
I need money, apparently. I look like I need money.
Look, Bob got in deep with some of the wrong people.
Yeah, I got Seagal.
All right. We're going to start off, and the movie starts. Ready to start? Dun, da, da, da.
We're just going to blast off here, right?
Space shuttle launch.
Okay.
Why? How come the budget of this wasn't $700 million? It must have been really expensive to launch that shuttle.
Yeah.
So
got in touch with NASA and everything.
Surprised the budget was only $60 million for this movie. I'm like, they're launching a damn space shuttle in the beginning of this
piggyback.
thing. It's crazy.
Right over a nude beach.
It's very hard to the CGI on the satellite. So for the space shuttle launches, and the whole thing is to put this satellite into space.
Yeah.
And the CGI on this thing is just incredible. Okay. This is 1995. I'm pretty sure Pixar called an emergency meeting after this when they saw this, right? They're just like, we get everybody in here, please. Did you guys see the satellite?
We got to get everyone here now.
Right now.
Warner Brothers has a leg up.
Yeah.
What are we going to do, guys? Toy Story's in the pipeline. Like
it's not going to be good enough, guys. It's already, we got to do something. Did you see the legs moved? The legs moved on the satellite.
Yes.
Guys.
In a wonderful 2D environment.
It was wonderful.
It was like 1.5D.
It was Grazer 1, and the whole plot revolves around this weaponized satellite that will cause. It's not super clear because they use it in ways that don't make sense, but it's supposed to cause earthquakes.
It's a theoretical tectonic weapon.
Okay, so you'd point it at a town and cause an earthquake underneath it.
In the movie, they sum it up as it's a particle beam accelerator of some kind, which piggybacks off the late 80s theories of tectonic weapons that was kind of postulated by the Soviet Union.
Yeah, Bob and I used to sit around for hours and talk about tectonic plates and earthquake guns and all that kind of stuff.
Well, I don't know.
That's right up our alley.
I don't know.
I was a huge Duke Nukem fan.
I know. Oh. I don't know if you've ever been with Bob in a public place where he's taking a shit. But That in and of itself is a tectonic weapon.
It's pretty, got it. It's pretty similar to this. Well, in the most Bob thing, it's the most Bob thing ever. The government builds a multi-billion-dollar satellite, and the first thing they use it for is scoping chicks.
I know.
Absolutely.
Yes. Wait a minute.
Yes.
Who could tell that this movie was written by 2 college boys?
God bless them for it.
Yep.
Let's get the audience going here. The only nudie shot we get.
They got the Joint Chief of Staff in there. They got the General Dad from the '70s show coming in.
Yeah. Kurtwood Smith.
He's in there. They got all these people. There's millions of dollars, probably hundreds of millions they poured into this. Like, all right, let's turn this thing on, see if it works.
Yep.
And the first thing they do is zoom in on this chick's butt on the beach in a thong.
Oh, God bless it.
Clean it up, Jim.
Clean it up, Jim.
We get some image enhancement on this one. Stat.
Oh, holy guacamole.
Oh my God, she's rolling over.
Oh, my God.
I feel like this is an accurate thing for our government, but
It could be.
Could be.
I like they're like Captain, what are their names? Gilder and
Tilling or something.
Tilling or something. They're like captains, and they both put in the
their codes because they got to do it
the
simultaneously.
simultaneous pass codes and
That'll be important for later, kids.
whoa. I mean, that was a plot device that was introduced there. Oh.
Yeah, and I like it's funny. Like they're digitizing. We got this just pair of boobies on the screen.
Yeah.
From a million miles in space, they zoom in on this chick's tits.
Yep.
And
Yep.
the general isn't even upset. He's like, "Son of a bitch, it works." Right?
Well,
It's gorgeous.
Kurt Woods. Kurt Woodsmith no sells the boobs as he's in the same outfit because after he's done shooting this scene, he's got to go over to the Broken Arrow set and shoot that scene.
That's true.
Right.
Wow.
You gotta go kill RoboCop again.
That is funny because that was
He looks like he's in the exact same outfit that
Basically.
he was in Broken Arrow.
Yep.
That's funny.
Just bring Kurtwood over here. We're broken.
Get him over here when he's done with Under Siege 2.
Exactly.
I think they had to be made around the same time.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. 95, 96. So there you go.
So they're all wrapping up for the weekend. They all high five each other, and like you said, Captain Gilder and Captain Tilling have to put their codes in simultaneously for the thing to be able to work.
Oh yeah, they do.
They act like they're going separate ways. Like, all right, enjoy your weekend, goodbye. But they've really booked a room in the sex car on this train together.
Yeah.
Okay. And there's a CIA guy there that's trying to hook up with her, but that doesn't really
The
work.
guy from the first movie.
Yeah, he's a returning character from the first film.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Tom Breaker. Mm-hmm.
Cigarette guy, we call him.
Cigarette guy.
Yeah.
Chain smoking cigarette guy.
I like that they do incorporate some of the other characters from the first movie apart from
Yes.
Oh yeah, the admiral and his
the two
buddy,
admirals.
who's actually a legitimate real life.
Dale Dye?
Yeah, Dale Dye was no joke.
I love that guy. Every time they always would hire, like movies would hire him as a consultant, like a military consultant. Like, make sure our military mumbo jumbo doesn't sound ridiculous and fake.
Yeah.
And then they always just end up putting him in the movie because he's so stinking good at
exactly.
it.
It's awesome. Exactly.
He sells it.
Yeah.
He was a Marine Corps captain
That's what I'm
in
saying.
Vietnam.
They used him in Forrest Gump.
Yep.
He's in all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
He trained Gary Sinise.
So this is when we're not introduced because it's a sequel, but for this movie, Casey Ryback, who, for those of you, if you didn't see the incredible Under Siege 1, the man is a chef in the Navy, and he worked on the ship that got taken over by Tommy Lee Jones. This is a quick recap of 1, which was too good to be on this show. And
It'll be on good movies that are good.
Probably.
Yeah.
And
It should be.
He saves the day. Casey Ryback knife fights Tommy Lee Jones.
Knifes him in the head and then throws him into a computer monitor.
Yep. I was gonna say
Saves the day.
because Tommy Lee only plays Stranix and
Yeah, Gary Busey in all
that's
Gary
right.
Busey greatness.
Yep, and Gary Busey. Speaking of that, fun little tidbit for the villain in this movie. So apparently Steven Seagal was on vacation, and when he came back from vacation, he found out the casting director had cast Gary Busey as Marcus Penn.
Oh.
And he was like, he was the villain in the first movie.
He died.
He's dead.
Oh wow.
This is his twin brother. I mean, that's a Hollywood thing to do.
Gary Busey had a pay or play clause in his contract. So Seagal's production company had to pay out Gary Busey $750,000.
That's right.
That's
Let's
right.
go.
Gary Busey.
Let's go, Gary. Get that money.
Yep. Get that money.
not even film one thing.
He's great in Point Break. I just want to say that's one of my favorite Gary Busey movies. Point Break.
Do you know what's Gary Busey's favorite movie? Probably.
Yeah.
Under Siege 2, Dark Territory.
Probably.
Okay, we're back.
Literally laughed all the way to the bank.
Seriously. And to introduce Casey, they have this whole scene where he's like, what a great guy. Let's walk him through the restaurant that he works at so everyone has a chance to be like, hey, Casey, we love you. You're awesome. Like, you sure Seagal didn't get a third ghost writing credit on this movie? We find out he missed his brother's funeral.
This is jag.
All the backstory we're given here. And so
it doesn't even make sense.
It doesn't make sense. Now he's going to go on vacation with his niece, the daughter of his dead brother. Why are they going on vacation together? They've never talked. They haven't talked in 5 years.
Are they going to the funeral?
That's what I was
No, the funeral. She said he missed the funeral.
No,
Okay.
that's already one of the problems with the screenplay is like it's written that they're going to California for the funeral.
Right.
But then he says, "Oh, I already missed my brother's funeral." So
Maybe it's a military funeral. I don't know.
did you miss it, or are you going to it?
Well, actually, because I invented time travel, I missed it in the future already.
I was gonna say
So,
that's probably what
Missed my
happened.
brother's funeral, so we're not going to miss the train.
We're not going to miss it.
We're not gonna miss the train.
In fact, I know the conductor because I used to drive trains in Japan.
For 25 years, I was a train conductor in Hiroshima. Hiroshima gets on the horn. No, he was not.
The best part of this movie to me is every time Seagal tries to have a normal human conversation with another person, whether it's his niece, who's played by a 16-year-old Katherine Heigl.
Just had to say 16-year-old.
I had to. It's important.
It's important.
Because Katherine Heigl would later tell a story about Steven Seagal.
That's gross.
Where Seagal, apparently, while they're making this movie, another reason why he's a trash human, went up to her at one point and goes, I've got girlfriends your age. So, take that however you want. And so he basically is propositioning
That's
her.
gross.
And letting her know, like, that was supposed to get her, oh, you date girls my age? Cool. Can I be number 7?
Oh, cool.
Or whatever.
Oh.
Evidently, there's a picture somewhere. I couldn't find it, but there's like a picture where they were at the premiere and Seagal got caught like caressing her right breast.
Flip, man.
Yeah. Anywho.
Anyway, so Katherine
Heigl
whether he's
shows
talking
up
to
at the train
Katherine
station.
Heigl at the train station or anytime he's trying to have a normal human conversation, it's hilarious. She walks up, their first interaction, they exchange a couple of words like, oh, the funeral was great, you missed it, whatever. And he literally just goes, yeah, so, and then he just walks away.
Hold on. They go up to the thing to get the tickets, right?
Yes.
And he's like, they say like, oh, haven't seen you in a while. And he's like, so what have you been up to? And she's like, oh, just dealing with plane crashes, planning funerals, things like that. Yeah. So.
And then he just walks away.
Walks away. Like his response of, yeah, like the inflection, the look on his face.
It's incredible. What an actor.
Wow.
What an actor.
Who won Best Actor that year? I'm surprised.
He's like, yeah, so here's a teddy bear. I don't know if you're still into these, but here. Actually, I invented teddy bears. So this is...
Yeah.
Let's
You
not
like teddy
forget
bears?
the intro into Mercenary 1, Peter Green leaning next to the train smoking a cigarette.
Right.
Yeah, so first of all, Peter Green, this is the first hint you get that there's bad guys afoot. Why do bad guys always have turtlenecks on in the 90s? That's one question I want answered.
Always covering up the hickeys from Jennifer Aniston.
Got it. Also on the train, we find out, as I said, Captain Tilling and Captain Gilder are doing it in the sex car. Like
It's the worst PG sex scene of all time.
In an R-rated
I know Bob
movie.
is really disappointed.
This is an R-rated movie, and
What
we
are
get
we
a
doing?
PG
What are you doing?
sex scene.
This
Come
is
on.
garbage.
Here's what I'm saying. It's the longest sex scene in any movie we've certainly covered because when the train is leaving, before the train leaves, they're already doing it.
They're already doing
And
it.
by the time the bad guys show up and interrupt them still having sex, however much longer later.
Oof. Gotta be.
It's gotta be.
That's gotta be hours.
Got to be.
It's gotta be because like the bad guys hijack. They literally like go through the motions of hijacking helicopters from an army base,
Right.
And then following the train, and Casey's making cake and arguing.
Right,
with
we're gonna
people.
get into all that, but yes.
but yes, the whole time
The bad guys are doing bad.
sex.
Can we talk about let's talk about when they hijack the military?
Are
base.
we to that scene?
Yes, it's basically. We're not going to touch every single little stupid thing that happens, so we'll be here all day.
That's true.
But they get on the train, and yes, essentially it cuts to the bad guys starting to do bad things. And they roll up on this, I don't know if it's a base or an installation or whatever you want to call it.
It's a base.
There's some hangars, some
base.
choppers, things like that.
It's a search and rescue.
They roll up the bad guys to the gate, and I love. Did you see what the freaking gate code was?
I did.
And I just imagine them saying, like, "Sir, there's a gate code." I don't know. try 69. And it works.
Yeah.
He walks up and he punches 69.
I did not catch that.
69 pounds.
Oh my God.
And I'll tell you,
That's
once again, if there was ever like, oh yeah, this was written by 2 college kids,
Hey.
2 college boys. Hey, what
Yeah.
should we make the gate code be?
Wouldn't it be so funny?
if it
It's
was
so funny.
69?
And Everett McGill just walks right in as Mr. Penn and just caps the guy just doing like TPS reports.
These are the worst soldiers ever.
Literally. Literally.
The Native American guy, as you said, rolled in, mows down everybody in this office. Then he shoots the guy talking through the radio. Like, I don't know if he thought the bullets would go through and kill him, right? You die too. Right?
Yeah.
Then these other 2 soldiers walk out of the hangar like, what's going on?
Oh my
like
God!
there's gunfire.
This is literally like there's been gunfire. There's been these guys that clearly don't belong here. They're in Humvees. They're already in the helicopters. These guys are actively stealing 2 Hueys, and these 2 soldiers come out and say like, "Hey, hold on there."
What's going on? Like, no guns. They don't come out armed or anything. They just walk out the front door like, what's going on out here?
No, that's literally the line. Hey, hold on there.
Yeah.
Like, hey, hold on there. Hey, hold on there. And he holds that.
My moonshine.
Hey, you got to sign those out. Hey.
Exactly. Like, what are you doing?
Son of a.
So needless to say, they get mowed down pretty quick.
All right. So the bad guys aren't to the train yet. So we go back to the train.
But now they got helicopters.
And it's time for a heart-to-heart in the bar car,
Yeah,
right?
here we go. Yeah.
He's got to have another human conversation with his niece. And Katherine Heigl goes, so why'd you stop talking to my dad? And then he goes on this like soliloquy. Yeah, so, time is a strange thing. Many wondrous things happen, and then time kind of goes on. And, by the way, your dad was kind of a dick. Or like basically like he goes through this whole like...
You surmised it pretty well there.
He didn't get all the medals. Being a choir boy.
Time goes by.
What does that even
flies?
What does that even mean? You son of a bitch. Yep. What does that mean?
He rambles on about time. He's trying to sound like he's intelligent and thoughtful.
Sure, he's waxing philosophically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then he just loses his way, almost like Michael Scott trying to find his way through a sentence.
Oh, that's perfect.
And then he gets to the end and just decides to go, your dad wasn't a choir boy.
You can imagine if Jesse Ventura played Casey Ryback.
I can imagine I can imagine if anybody played Casey Ryback.
Your dad and I used to be a couple of sexual tyrannosauruses. That would back in the day.
that would have been perfect.
Perfect.
God.
She storms off mad because so would anyone talking to this idiot.
Don't talk about my father that way.
Right. Goes off. This is where she runs into. We see Morris Chestnut. Really, I mean, when she got on,
they do make peace.
They have a little. I think she fake makes peace with him.
Yeah,
because the next thing she says to the porter, she's like, "Yeah, whatever. He used to be a cool guy," but she kind of leaves and goes into the hallway. And Morris Chestnut is the porter that works on the train. He helps people with their luggage.
Bobby Zacks.
And Bobby's his name.
Bobby Zacks.
Played by Morris Chestnut. He's been flirting with Catherine since she got on, or Sarah. Is her name Sarah in the movie?
Yeah.
Katherine Heigl. Mm-hmm. He's been flirting with Sarah since she got on. They continue the flirting, but she freaking Aikido flips his ass in the hallway.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we find out that, okay, when she was 11 years old, Casey Ryback taught her all this hand-to-hand stuff.
Really cool uncle that taught me some stuff.
And so she knows all kinds of cool stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
This is, again, I'm only mentioning this, not because it's an interesting scene to have a discussion about, but only because it's important for later.
It's so great.
And
the particular move that she does?
No, the fact that Morris got Aikido'd is important later.
Yeah, it is. It is. It is.
Not that it makes sense what happens later.
No.
But it's important.
It does. It is.
For sure.
It's some
you got a saw right here?
Foreshadowing.
Back.
You got a saw? I'm going to saw this part of heck because I'm on an island of greatness by myself.
No, anytime you want, defend the movie. I'm going through, as I always do, and talk about the ridiculous things. That doesn't mean I didn't enjoy myself.
No, I love foreshadowing. I love when stuff like this happens in movies.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
But
you just don't like exhaust pipes.
Up to this point in the movie, up to this point in the movie, you're just sitting here going, "Oh man, this is freaking great."
It. Okay.
No, it's fine.
It's not bad.
No, not yet.
The buildup is pretty good.
this you got. I mean, this scene that happens after this, I'm already laughing, getting ready to talk about it.
What?
Just Seagal being a freaking idiot.
No, he is 100%.
It cuts back.
He's the worst part about the movie.
This girl who used to be in Penthouse is the bartender.
Oh, yeah,
you know, in
yeah.
this railway car, and so she's
How do you think she got that job?
got a flirt.
Sure.
I know exactly how she got that job.
That's
And
gross.
It is. Goes over to Seagal. She's like, again, he wants to portray himself as this super smart person.
God.
What's the strongest stuff you got?
Well, no, after that,
After that.
she goes, what are you writing? He's like, oh, it's a book.
Book. Then he says,
my
Writing my memoirs.
my memoirs.
My
But
memoirs.
He really emphasizes that it's memoirs.
Memoirs.
And then she says it wrong back to him.
Yes.
And I swear to God, if they had panned down, it would have been like a notepad with a picture of boobies like penciled in on it or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
I was like, that's him writing his memoirs. Or he's doing the find the hidden object in a issue of highlights.
Yeah. I should have brought. I just got a new highlights the other day.
It's my memoirs. I'm writing a book. It's about my life.
Oh my God.
Doodling a chicken in the corner. God. Seriously. Now Casey is a passenger, okay? And the next scene, he's in the kitchen because he's a chef.
Yeah.
And so they have a passenger from the train in the kitchen. He's like, don't drink all the brandy because I need it for the cake. And so the chefs, I died at this scene. They've got all the chefs gathered around like he's teaching them how to make a cake.
Yes.
And all they're doing is watching him whisk a bowl.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh.
This train's really cramping
Oh
my
my
style.
gosh.
And
I usually whip this up pretty fast, but this train's cramping my style.
Right, it's shaking too much. I can't whisk a bowl.
Who the hell
whisk
throws
a
a cake
bowl.
in the microwave?
I was just gonna say, and then this is how you're baking a cake. You
In the microwave?
In the microwave
For 15 minutes.
And like, well, you put it in the
Guys,
microwave
You
for
got
15
ovens.
minutes.
You got microwave 20,000. It will incinerate your cake in 5 seconds.
It's such an incredible chef. My keto master in Japan showed me how to make these cakes. They're called microwave
They
cakes.
call microwave cakes.
Enough about stock, God. Let's get to Everett McGill.
We're almost there, but I got to talk about this because you guys know my wife was a professional cake baker.
Your wife makes delicious cake.
And
does.
Before she's doing what
Yes.
she's doing now. And so she's made thousands of cakes.
James
Yes.
gets to have that
And I'm
cake
s-
and eat it.
And I'm sitting there. Don't say that.
I'm joking.
She's sitting there on the couch with me, okay? And as you can imagine, when this scene happens, her head almost explodes.
Yes.
Really?
Okay.
I can see.
I'm like, first of all, she's like not watching the movie because like she was hating it, so she's like on her phone. I had to rewind and go, Dana, you missed this. Look what he does
Look
to
at
this
this-
cake.
look at this
She
cake
sees him
scene.
stick it in the microwave. It's like, you just cook it on high for 15 minutes. And she's like, what?
Oh man.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
All right, Bob, you ready? We're here.
Thank God.
The takeover of the train.
The takeover, it's great.
Thank goodness there's something for Seagal to slap in the face because
Here we
up
go.
to this point he's talked about teddy bears and cakes and his memoirs
Yes.
and all this stuff. And I'm
Clearly,
like,
these guys.
and time going by.
Clearly, these guys did not watch Under Siege 1.
I think they did because later when they find out it's Casey Ryback, they all acted like they knew who
It's
that
true.
was.
That's
That was a
funny.
great
too.
scene.
That's a funny part too.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
All right, so first we see Jonathan Banks, who was totally underused in this movie. I feel like
Probably.
they stop the train with a flag, right?
Jonathan Banks and other henchman number 7, whatever. We'll
Right.
call him.
Someone's been shot. Where? Here.
Here.
Shoot.
Shoots the conductors.
It's a great start.
Yeah,
I
it's
love
good.
it. I love
The
it.
takeover is really well shot.
It's very chaotic.
Yeah.
You got Peter Green starts firing his gun in the
Yep.
like moving everybody to the back.
Yep.
He's on crowd control. You get these guys. The choppers come in. They're ready to look like with the baggage loader thing. You
Yeah.
get all the
Yeah.
equipment in there because they're going to set up these satellite dishes. Because the whole thing is they're setting up a mobile command base to control and hijack that satellite that we launched. earlier
Oh
in the movie.
yeah, that satellite.
Remember that
Yeah.
ATAX
You guys
satellite?
remember that one? Yeah, yeah.
And so they did drop this little nugget that the guy that designed the whole thing had suicided himself a month ago. Turns out he didn't. This is the guy that's taking over the train.
There was quite a nugget in the opening there that all these characters kept mentioning a guy by the name of Travis Dane.
Dane.
Dane. Oh, Dane. He was a smart guy. Dane. He's dead. Did they ever find the body? No.
Yeah.
Played great by Ernest
Little on the nose.
Bogosian. I don't know if I pronounced his name right.
You didn't even get his first name right.
What's
Eric?
his name?
Eric?
Oh, I'm
Eric.
sorry. My
Eric
apologies.
Bogasian.
Eric
Bogasian.
Bogasian.
We'll
I
say,
think
yeah.
we'll just- yeah.
Okay.
Played great by Eric Bogasian.
He was great. Seagal does manage to get all of the chefs murdered in the kitchen car.
So not before one guy walks
I'll
in.
tell you this: we're not even there yet.
Yeah.
We're almost. No, we're almost. I love scenes like this when you get like henchman number 20 coming in, and like the little girl's crying with the grandma, and he grabs her, just like, shut that bitch up. And I'm like, what?
You got to make him hate. You got to make him hate you, man.
Or like then the other like henchman number 17 slams the other girl up against the door and like touches her butt and pulls out that little pocket knife. He's like, what's this? What's this? Huh? What's this?
What's this?
And I just wanted to be like,
I
just want to be like, it's just a pocket knife. Like, shut up.
It's like Bob always says. They just did like they lined up these stuntmen. They all did a line. And
Oh, dude, they all did a line.
Yeah.
Of whatever they got. Maybe a little peyote. I'm going to say peyote. There's a lot of Native American henchmen.
just crushed up rocks from outside.
Oh, dude. Crushed up rocks from outside and just launched it. Just snorted it.
Right.
Oh.
One henchman was
Mr. Clean's goofy cousin.
unfortunate
with
enough to
the
walk in.
what was I going to say? The most
Mr. Clean's goofy cousin who walks into the kitchen.
Dude, his eyebrows were terrible.
Yeah.
The untamed eyebrows.
That's it. There you go.
Yeah.
Open fires on a cook who's an idiot who grabs a meat cleaver, stands there and goes, "This is my time for the squibs," and gets shot.
Yep.
And then, anybody else want to be a hero?
Anybody else wanna
and
be
I
a
gotta say
hero?
this: as much as Steven Seagal is a human pile of ding dongs, I love his action scenes in this movie.
Yeah. Sure.
Most of them.
So the way he dispatches the
Yes.
guy was very well edited, very well done.
Oh, none of my issues are with how the action.
You
was
felt
shot.
the punches. With
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, what's your problem, Ryan, with the action?
I love that he hits him 4 times and allegedly that kills him.
Oh well,
one-
that's a,
no one said he died.
That's a
He just
Seagal
threw him
thing.
out the.
No, he throws him out and like the
We have a first
dude-
fatality.
That's literally like the guy's like.
I noticed that was the stupid part about it because there's like literally 4
So-
henchmen in this movie that he doesn't kill.
So he hits him in the arm. He hits him in the nuts. He throws him into a wall.
Double karate chop.
and then double karate chops him in the
Face.
chest,
chest,
neck,
face, chest, neck, face, and throws him out of a car. That's okay. So he falls 10 feet, and all of a sudden it's like, we have a casualty.
I never said the mercenary that said that was. I never said the writing right there was smart.
No.
I was
And then
saying,
you
like,
just see his like lifeless body on the dirt. Like this guy just died.
He's taking a nap.
And they literally like they load him. After they they put the bomb on the car, which I don't know why because it doesn't even do anything.
I credit the filmmaking or the script or however the score or whatever you want to go in this point because his entrance there is cool. Anybody else want to be a hero and the music all timed up perfect and boom, there he is.
Yes.
Whether it was reasonable that he killed the guy, that's just a Seagal. I mean, you want to talk about tropes. Seagal smacks a dude in the face and he dies.
Yeah,
I mean, a lot of
his brain
movies, he's like,
explodes, man.
Does this and then
Right,
whoosh,
yeah,
and he's
sure.
like, "Ugh," and off he goes.
yeah.
So it is what it is.
Yeah, the amazingly entertaining Steven Seagal action.
But he throws the guy or whatever out of the car, and then the guy says, "Yeah, we have our first casualty."
This guy.
And they light up.
it. it's so evident. Yeah, it's so bad.
They light up the whole. What's funny about this is the bad guys, when they see there's the first casualty, they light up that car with machine gun fire, the whole kitchen car.
Right.
Seagal's like, "Take cover, LOL, bye," and just
Literally dips out the
dips out
other
of
way.
there.
Yeah, dive
And, like,
into the freezer.
none of these guys either don't speak English or understand what take cover means because they all stand there like, "What?" And they all get shot and
Dude, they
killed.
get blasted.
Mowed down.
And a couple of squibs didn't go off, so they're just getting blasted and nothing's
Right.
popping.
Yeah, I know.
I
but
noticed
most
that.
of the squibs didn't go off.
Yeah.
If Seagal hadn't been in the kitchen car, those guys get herded to the front or the back or whatever, and they live and survive. He's the reason they're dead.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
I mean, for this
Ryback-
movie, I pictured every other great action hero over Seagal's face as I watched this movie.
Really?
is Seagal killed more hostages in this movie than the bad guys did.
It's actually true.
It's actually pretty true. He's got
actually
more
true.
hostages killed in this movie than he's like.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So we got so
But I will say this: he knocked the guy out.
He did knock the guy out.
Yeah, he wasn't killed.
And he does come back after they've gunned the whole car down. He goes, "Now this I was trained for." And
Which
But
was
the musical score in that scene
sure,
was
it
really
was
good.
piggybacking off of a line from earlier.
right, which
Yeah.
he says, "I'm not trained for this dealing with a 16-year-old
Dealing with a
girl.
16-year-old girl. I'm not trained for this.
This I'm trained for."
This
and he
I'm
leaves. I'm like, "Bro, check the cake. It's still in the microwave."
done by anybody else. That's a great line.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you got the musical score, you got the build up, you got the close up shots. So like I said, everything's shot really well, and the music's great. The musical score in this movie is awesome.
Yeah,
the theme for the movie is really good.
It is.
Except
but anytime you're supposed to sell, Seagal doesn't sell.
Yeah, okay, but the score is trying to do the heavy lifting for Seagal.
Exactly.
There's moments where all Seagal is doing is sneaking out of a hatch and into a toilet.
I kept on saying back to headquarters because he kept going back to that same
all it was.
baggage car.
Yeah.
And back at headquarters.
He's just climbing into a toilet out of a hatch or whatever, but the score is like da 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 da.
Yep.
I'm like, okay, the score is really working overtime here.
It is.
Trying
it
to
is.
sell.
So are the editors.
And Jeff Murphy.
And
everything.
Jeff Murphy.
I felt bad for Jeff Murphy.
So do I.
All the, like I said, everybody else carries the film.
No, for sure.
Well, then you got Patrick Kilpatrick as henchman number 14.
Yeah, I love that guy.
Yeah, he pops in because now we got
That
Morris
was such
Chestnut.
a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of Jonathan Banks, Green, Kilpatrick. They're just all underused.
Exactly.
A lot.
But now here's where Bobby Zaks hides, right? So
Yes.
Morris Chestnut dives into the luggage compartment.
Right.
I love it when it comes in like, check the baggage. And then the dude comes in just, baggage checked.
Yeah, and so that's how we end up with the two stragglers.
So we got- yeah.
Everybody gets herded into the last two cars, and we end up with the porter and Seagal as the only two people that don't have. And they even break up the sexual escapades in the sex car between Tilling and Gilder.
Yeah.
by shooting the radio, like no easy listening, no soft rock.
No
in here.
easy listening classics.
Pulls those guys out because they need them because they have to have their codes input simultaneously.
Sure.
In order to hack
And
into
then-
the satellite.
And then from the helicopter emerges
Dane,
Travis Dane.
the bad guy.
Travis freaking Dane.
That's right. The man who penned the incredible quote, or who said the incredible quote, "Chance favors the prepared mind."
Chance favors the prepared mind.
If you miss it the first time, they say it 12 more times in the show.
They do.
He's here, and they bring him into what's going to be the car where they've set up the computers in a because he's a cool hacker guy, and he's smart, and he knows the things and
Yeah,
the buttons,
the
to
science
hit,
machines.
all that stuff,
All
right,
the
to take
science
over-
machines.
to take over. And so they get the two captains in here, and he's got to threaten them to get the codes out. It's the only thing he doesn't have. He can get past the blocks because he designed them. He can get past everything he needs to do in order to get control of this. He doesn't have the codes.
Yeah.
And so all these people have to do is not give him the codes.
Right.
And everything's cool. The man is going to use this satellite to blow up Washington, D.C. and the entire eastern seaboard.
I mean, who even knows what he's going to do with it?
8 million people, right?
Because we don't know yet.
They don't know yet,
They don't
but
know
they
yet.
know that he's a psychopath.
They know he's a psychopath who is obviously hijacking a train.
Right. But it takes him about 4 seconds to cough these codes
Oh
up.
my gosh. And I'll tell you this. This is the funny part too. They're looking at each other like, the codes, they're useless anyway. He can't use them. Cuz like codes like that, the code on my freaking retirement fund is more secure than this code on this tectonic weapon.
Right, it's like 5 digits.
It's 6 digits. But the thing is like,
Do you have a
these are-
retirement fund?
I did. Anyway.
He blew it on peyote.
Yeah. It's like,
I do have to say, I was too busy looking at the beautiful henchwoman who was awesome.
she is awesome. She never speaks a line of dialogue.
And that's great.
Lady
it's okay.
Death?
Yeah.
I called her Lady Death.
I mean, she was
Her
cool.
name is Afifi Alui.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm sure I'm butchering that, but you were awesome if you're listening.
Yeah.
No, her whole thing was to take this like red hot poker, basically. It looked like a vape pen.
Yep.
They're just going to stick it in this person's eye. And
Yeah.
And Dane is doing this great monologue
Yes.
about how it will boil the liquid inside of your eye and it'll
That
explode and all.
It'll pass through without any pain, but the
Eyeball
eye
itself.
fluid will keep boiling.
He's able throughout the movie, this part and when he's addressing the people in the train, he's like able to like keep it light but also sadistic and sick.
Yeah,
and
he's really
bad,
great.
at the same time.
Oh my gosh.
So he does a good job, but they don't want to get their eyeballs boiled, and so they cough up these codes immediately, and then he kills them anyway.
Peter Green just boots the guy, ping pongs him off a cabinet and out the door. Oh, that's not enough. I got to shoot you as you're falling off the train.
As you're falling into a valley
And then they
70 feet below. I'm just going to...
Then they gracefully grab the girl and just drop her.
And cool, because Green didn't have enough to do in the movie. That's
That
why
is
he's,
her
like,
one
shooting
line.
this gun.
Yeah. Oh, it's okay.
It's okay.
Oh, she does say
Yeah,
that.
yeah. She like caresses her and she's like, it's okay. And then pushes her off of a freaking truss
So
into a river.
the good news is the last thing they did with their lives is have 5 hours of sex, but now they're both dead.
Yeah.
And
while being overlooked by Batman himself.
That's right.
Casey Affleck, who's walking the top of the train.
Casey Affleck.
Oh, sorry, Casey Ryback.
That's a totally different movie if it's
Yeah.
Casey Affleck.
Oh gosh.
All
He'll
right.
be inside the mind of a toilet bowl.
So here we're gonna skip to, we've got Casey. This is the first time Casey meets up with the porter, right? So,
Right.
there's a lot of Seagal sneaking around. I mean, to a thunderous score. He's on top of the train.
Yes.
He's sneaking through. It
Yeah.
seems like it goes on forever, and he finally ends up in the baggage car where he runs into Morris.
Yeah, it's just so paced in just a weird, choppy way. And like his stuntman is so obvious in the wide shot.
Oh yeah.
When
on the
it
train.
when it shows like the wide shot and it's like, hey, your Steven Seagal wig is about to blow off your head.
Props to that stuntman, then. Thank you for what you did.
Yeah,
For
seriously.
jumping on that train and hanging on that train.
Being Seagal's stuntman is the safest job in the stunt team
It's
for that
probably
movie,
true.
because you're the only one not getting smacked around. Mm-hmm. Right?
That's true.
Yep.
You're safe 100%.
You know who else is safe from Seagal? Morris. Because, so
Morris.
he gets into the baggage car, and he's trying to get Morris to come out, but Morris got shot at in the baggage car, so he won't. So he goes, "Come out here, young man, don't make me raise my voice." And I'm like, "Don't worry, he can't."
Yeah. That's literally what I said, James. And like I watched this movie. I've seen this movie 4 times in my life. I've watched it. I tried to watch it twice this week, and I
That's a
couldn't even
lot
watch
for
it.
someone that hates it.
You know how I prepare.
Ryan sits down, lights a couple of incense candles, sits crisscross applesauce because we can't say Indian style anymore,
Yeah.
and stares at a blank screen before
this was
pressing
literally
play.
like a 3-minute debate we had the other day about Indian style. And
Oh,
crisscross
nice.
applesauce, yeah. So
But you said
anyway,
the same thing. He can't raise his voice.
I did.
Yeah.
Literally. He's like, "Don't, young man, don't make me raise my voice at you." I was like, "You wouldn't anyway."
I wish he would. Because
wish he would.
sometimes and this is the way he speaks the dialogue.
Yeah. Young man, don't make me raise my voice
Why
at you.
is he whispering?
Why is he even?
Because he thinks it's cool.
Why does he have a
Seagal
career? Is the better
thinks
question.
This is cool.
James has the answer for that. Why he has a career.
I know why he has a career.
Yeah. It's called The Mob, and we'll talk about that later.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So at this point, thank God, Dale Dye and Andy Romano show up, the admirals at, we'll just call it the Pentagon. I don't know what installation they're in. They're
Returning
in some
characters
office.
from the Under Siege one,
Right.
too.
And thank God they're here to save that whole half of the movie, because I love those guys.
Yeah.
They do the expo dump so they can they have to explain to these admirals what this satellite is, what it does.
Yeah.
And so, like, for instance, if we wanted to, here's the San Andreas Fault through California, and they show this rendering of California falling into the Pacific
Right.
Ocean. And I'm sitting there going, why do you have a mock-up animation of that ready to go?
They stole,
not that we're working on this or anything.
Yeah.
they stole John Carpenter's plans from Escape from
Literally.
LA.
No, they did though. It's true.
Like, is this a project you guys are currently working on?
It was like a secondary animation that was left over from Escape from LA.
Right. After Escape
Or
from LA
actually,
just got done
no,
shooting.
because this was before Escape from LA.
Well, Escape from LA is way better.
Right,
I know,
because we might just have to sink this whole state into the
in case
ocean
we- yeah.
someday, just in case we got to get rid of California.
But needless to say, Arizona will be beachfront property.
That's right. Otis Berg. That's also a
It's a little
Superman
bitty place.
reference.
Otis Berg, Mr.
That's the whole.
Fassbacher.
Lex Luthor's whole plan was to
Yeah.
get California knocked off to make new oceanfront property.
2 nukes.
Yeah.
One going to the East Coast, one going to the
right.
San Andreas Fault.
Exactly.
Superman 1.
All right. So because Steven Seagal is also not only a karate genius, or an Aikido genius, but a technical genius, Casey invents new technology in the next scene. I'm call it the casual rescue continues. Okay, it's the most casual rescue attempt by a character in an action film ever. Oh yeah. He spends most of the time just kind of strolling through the train.
Strolling around, looking around.
The next thing he needs to do is get to he asks the porter where the phones are. There's one in the very front of the car with the conductor, and there's one payphone in the bottom of one of the cars, like on the bottom floor. And so he's like, I'm going for the payphone. And he grabs someone's PDA. Now, for those of you who aren't old enough to know this,
It
before
was
there
his
were
PDA, wasn't it?
Was it his PDA?
'Cause that
I
was
thought
what
he might have
he
grabbed
was-
it out of the baggage
His
car.
bag, he took it out. And
He was writing his memoirs on that PDA.
On his PDA.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's his PDA, whatever. For those of you who don't know, before we had tablets and smartphones and all this stuff, the only thing that we had that was kind of similar was these tablet PDAs that were not connected to the internet in any way, shape, or form. Didn't have the internal guts to do anything wirelessly. It was just a screen where you could keep people's like addresses and take notes.
Right.
And you had a little stylus and all this stuff. And this is what he
It
used.
was like a digital pocketbook.
Exactly.
More or less, yeah.
Like you replace the address book, so the address book killer and Ghost of the Machine wouldn't have been able to come and kill you if you'd had a PDA.
Oh, I'm sure he could have found his way into the PDA.
He could have. Right, the ghost in the PDA.
The ghost
That
in
should have been the
PDA
sequel.
Could have been the sequel.
Oh, the ghost in the PDA just passes it to people, and whoever ends up with it gets killed. The stylus in somebody's eye.
Yeah.
All right, so he basically he takes his PDA and he wires it to the payphone wires, and then he's able to make a call, or rather send a fax through the phone lines through his PDA, which means he actually would have coded an interface, because there's a dial-up interface that comes up on the PDA, which wouldn't have any kind of wireless guts or anything like that.
And this is down in the dining car.
This is all done in the dining car. So while everyone's there, he coded a PDA, a dial-up interface, and somehow created wireless technology.
Right.
All enough to send a fax to a pizza shop.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Like, yeah, 100.
Whatever.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's great.
And then we have our...
I mean, he might as well hooked up a toaster to the, like, that's as feasible. He could have sent a fax with a toaster. I'm gonna take this toaster and hook it up to the payphone, and I'll write a message on the bread, and we'll put it down.
And he
we'll
puts it down and like cranks it up to high.
to high all the way for 15 minutes.
Can you
Just like
imagine
my
if he
case.
had like like how he, and after that he makes a
And then at the pizza shop, the toast just pops up
Pops out of their toaster.
out of their toaster. And he's like, what's this?
send me the toast.
Dude, we got to put that in a movie.
What were you gonna say?
Oh, I was gonna say something about a exploding toast. Like he rigged the toaster. Who's rigged, like when the guy goes down to check? Hey, I thought you turned the lights off. So they send a white eye guy down.
They saw a one-eyed herb down there.
It goes down there, and I was just like, it would have been great if he just did like a rocket propelled C4 toast right
seriously.
at the guy.
Yeah.
They should have leaned into the fact that he was a chef. I wanted kills with toasters and whisks and you know.
I'm gonna say this: Under Siege 2 was very big inspiration for the janitor idea.
Yeah.
Not because of Steven Seagal, just like
It's true, though.
I wish they would have leaned.
Can you
into it
imagine if he killed someone with a toaster, like he lawn darts him out of the dining car?
That would have been incredible.
And he just kind of emerges from the shadows, just like, you're toasted.
You're toast.
Where's the jelly?
You're toasted.
You're toasted.
Yeah, so I do like how Penn notices the lights are on downstairs, and he sends a one-eyed herb down there.
Herb, I thought you cut the light, cut the power downstairs.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. I thought you cut the power downstairs.
Herb gets killed in about 4 seconds.
Good old Herb.
And then magically just no blood, no nothing.
Not in the kill scene.
And then we'll send Peter Green back up. Go check on
Later,
Herb.
but we do get the callback to the Thanksgiving trailer from Grindhouse, where later on he goes down there and he puts his finger like, "It's blood, sir."
Blood. It's you know what?
Son of a bitch.
Wow, that's funny because that's true.
That's right.
That's a great thing.
Oh man, if Michael Biehn was Casey Ryback.
All day.
If anybody was Casey Ryback.
You could literally, if Katherine Heigl was Casey Ryback in this
I was
movie.
gonna say you could have gotten Linda Hamilton to play Casey
That's why I say
Ryback.
thank God for Gerard Butler making these types of movies still.
I love it.
Anybody.
So I'm going to zoom through a little bit, but they do some more bad guy stuff, like they shoot down a plane.
Well, this is the big demonstration of Grazer 1.
For $1 billion.
Well, they do. Thank you. I should talk about that for sure.
It's a big deal.
They do blow up a chemical weapons plant to demonstrate that they can do it in China.
I love it.
And release COVID-18 or whatever into. It wasn't COVID-19 yet. It wasn't COVID-19
It was
yet.
COVID-95.
COVID-94. COVID-94. 94 sounds better. 95 is Microsoft.
He does this whole thing about they know that we know.
I love.
We pretend that we don't
once
know.
again,
and
Travis-
they pretend that we don't know.
What the good social commentary on Travis Day on that? You're just
No,
like
it's good stuff. But it was a
well-written.
demonstration. And so they cause an earthquake under this plant and it blows up.
kills thousands. Dude,
Yeah.
This dude just murders thousands of people
With the press of a
with
button.
the press of a button. Like he says, going to make the Bhopal disaster look like a day at Girl Scout camp.
yeah, Dig, yes.
Yeah.
And so all these other bad guys, which we never see, but are apparently on the email chain or whatever, they're all trying to bid up, to get access to the satellite.
One guy offers $100 million to blow up his wife.
Right. It's like that, and that's a little side shoot. That's funny. That's like a little side shoot. Like, hey, I'll give you $100 million if you kill my wife real quick, though.
Yeah, so they use, and this is what I'm saying later, like they set up the premise of how this thing works, this earthquake gun.
Yes.
And then they use it to kill a plane in the middle of the air. And they even kind of call it out in the movie. They're like, an earthquake gun to kill a plane. Who would have thunk it?
That's the funny part about it, though. Because here's the thing about tectonic weapons. Like, there's nothing concrete about them. Everything about a tectonic weapon is still a theoretical process. So this movie just takes this, like, an earthquake in space, an earthquake in the air. Yeah,
sure.
Let's just, like, we accelerate the particles toward the plane, and it causes the plane to have an earthquake in midair.
Great.
Why not?
Plane explodes.
Why not?
Sure. They also put all these ghost satellites out on their readouts so like the people in the Pentagon can't know which one is the actual satellite.
Yeah.
So they can't locate it to lock in and do the self-destruct thing that they have. All this stuff is going on.
Pretty simple thing to do there, too, but I'll tell you later.
We do call the Pentagon from Paris. There's a video call that's made from Paris to the Pentagon.
Paris.
It's literally him on the train with a background on an easel behind him. This made me laugh because it's the 90s and they didn't have green screen yet, right? So like somebody had to haul around the Paris background.
The easel guy.
Like you're the easel guy, and they're loading the train. Like
Probably
make sure
the
you
same
bring
guy
the Paris.
from,
Make sure you bring the Paris.
It's probably the same dude that helped, carried all the axes in Teenage Mutant Ninja
That's what I'm
Turtles.
saying. No one ever talks about these henchmen that have the crap
Why am I always
details.
carrying shit?
That's right.
Gary, you're carrying this.
You're carrying the Paris thing. I bet they had like, you want to be in the desert? The guy probably had a ton of these
Just in
things.
case he drops the Paris background, and they're like, shit, now where?
He had to fly around the world and take photographs of different landmarks. Oh my gosh. Really expensive.
Man, I
Gets
would have been
really
that henchman. That'd be great.
Casey then goes back and hangs out with Morris some more in the baggage car. I mean, it's almost lackadaisical.
Back at headquarters.
Back
Back at headquarters. What, did you find anything in the baggage? Yeah, some clothes.
And some brassiere that I was playing with.
Yeah, exactly.
He's like, all right, I guess I'll go to the front of the car. I don't know why I came back here to just hang out for a while. I'll go to the front of the car and get the other phone.
Well, he gives
right?
him the gun, too.
That's right. Gives Porter
Morris Chestnut the gun.
the gun.
Yeah.
At this same point, Penn, the big tall main henchman, played by Everett McGill, is discovering the blood from Herb's death, and now he knows there's somebody on the plane. On the plane, on the train, whatever. It doesn't matter. Might as well be a plane.
It could have been on a plane.
Jonathan Banks is the guy that's the henchman that's in charge of the front. He's driving the train.
Scotty.
Okay, you don't have to drive. You just sit there, and they've got 6 henchmen crammed in the front of this train.
Yep. This was hilarious.
And so they're calling up to him like, check for, we got a straggler, check around. And they like look around the room.
Not even. No one moves. The one guy. They're like, check around up there. And he goes like this.
He turns his head back, turns
He
back.
doesn't even get out of his chair.
No.
He literally
No,
leans
man, he's
back,
comfortable.
looks left, looks right. I don't see anything.
We checked.
And then Scotty, and then Jonathan
checked
Banks
everywhere.
like, yeah, we're all clear up here. And it's like, you're very clearly not, because the guy you're looking for is literally above you right now.
And so finally they do come out, and there's this shootout.
Yes.
And no one is aiming at anybody.
Not before.
They're all blind firing.
Not before he Sparta kicks a guy
But
right
I
off
was
the
just
top
gonna
of the
say,
train.
Go check
Great.
the top of the train. This old stuntman, old henchman guy kind of shimmies up there
Yes.
and gets kicked off.
Sparta kicked off.
In glorious wide shot, falls down onto the tracks under the train, and then we get that cutaway of
get
him
the
like
Jaws shot,
holding onto
right?
the snow plow.
That's great.
Because that's what happened.
It is great. This is an example of a scene in the movie that is really good.
No, it's great. Everybody comes, and there's actually a good shootout. This is what I'm saying. I don't have a
The
problem
shootout's
with
really
most of
good.
the
He's
action.
opening the doors for cover and stuff.
For cover.
Yes.
It's annoying
Really well
that
done.
no one's sighting anybody. They're all just blind firing the whole shootout, right? They're blind firing up here, blind firing up there.
Exactly.
And they have this whole shootout, and it's a good scene. I have nothing bad to say about it. It's a lot of the action works.
This is worth it. This shootout is worth it for the movie.
No,
too.
it's great.
Yeah.
Once he is dispatching these guys, not all of them. Jonathan Banks never comes out of the conductor room.
Nope.
Yeah, he got shot apparently.
Okay.
Like he gets shot
Through the windshield or whatever.
Yeah, you just get hit in
windshield
the
and
arm
stuff.
or whatever. But
He throws.
As Casey's coming back out from the car, Lady Death is on the roof back side of the train.
they dispatch Lady Death, and she kind of rolls up with her sniper rifle on the back side of the train.
Lines up a shot,
man.
center mass
Yes.
on Casey Ryback,
Yes.
but shoots him in the shoulder. I mean, when they show the shot, the reticule is like on his sternum.
Right.
Then she pulls the trigger. He gets winged in the shoulder.
Yeah.
and goes down.
Because he can't get hurt.
And they think he's dead.
Well,
later on, the most Seagal
everyone's
thing
moving.
ever. He's like, "You think this is getting shot? This isn't getting shot.
Oh no, it's so bad.
I got shot in the face once. That's getting shot.
getting shot.
Took me 3 days to pull the bullet out with my own hands."
You have to be What'd you say?
It took me 3 days to pull the bullets out with my own hands.
Oh my god. That's where Jason Statham got it from.
I was just going to say from Spy. Jason Statham and Spy.
I hit a computer chip and crapped out a computer.
That's right.
Yes. I
my
once
God.
lost this arm and took this arm and used this arm to sew this arm back on. I was like,
Does he know he's on? Does he know he's on a lake? This is a lake.
That's right.
Yep. That's an awesome movie.
But how much of a pompous butthole you have to be? Is that like? Because every other action hero takes damage.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I
even,
know.
like even Schwarzenegger, not really, but sometimes will still take a beating and sell it, and still have somewhat blood coming off his lip. Van Damme
please.
will get blown out of a freaking window.
In
And
Commando, Bennett slaps him around, and
I was
that
gonna
dude is
say,
a chubby janitor-looking dude.
Yep.
Okay.
But exactly. But Steven Seagal in all his movies, maybe his first movie, Above the Law, where he actually looks like he's in peril.
Yeah.
That was it. Never show weakness
the only
again. He never bleeds.
Dude, it's
It's
crazy.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
He shakes, even in Hard to Kill, he shakes off a shotgun blast to the chest.
At close range.
At close range.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
good to go.
Yep.
And even this one, he gets shot, and he has to act like, whatever, it doesn't even count. It's like, basically, it's like she didn't even shoot me.
Yeah, basically.
Right? He holds his gun hand up there for
no-sells it.
half of a scene, and then it never is a thing ever again
No.
for the rest of the movie.
No. It doesn't even look like his suit is damaged for the rest of the movie.
Right.
like
well, it's not because I'm also a seamstress, and I fixed it before I got
Made
down
from
here.
the
Italian silk.
made from the fibers of dead babies.
That's right. I put it together while you were sleeping, and surprised you didn't know.
Surprised you didn't see me.
God.
And maybe because I'm so fast at it. All right, so the bad guys find out that Casey Ryback's on the train. They pull the manifest after they think he's fallen under the train and died.
Right. So this is all kind of
Yeah, intercut.
getting intercut together where they like see the blood and Peter Green's like, oh, well, he must have fallen off because there's blood down here.
He's saying this to Penn. He
Right.
think he's dead. They pull up
Right.
the thing and they see that Casey Ryback is
They see
on
the name Ryback.
the train.
Yes.
Right? Mm-hmm. And he also gets it from the PDA, which he recovered from downstairs.
Right.
And everyone, like you're saying, like, oh, Casey Ryback, he's the best. He trained me in Texas.
Fort
And-
Bragg.
Yeah, Peter
Fort
Green's
Bragg.
like my instructor
Yeah.
in Fort Bragg.
Peter
Right.
Green, he was my lieutenant at Fort
Oh,
Bragg.
I heard he invented teddy bears.
Everyone's going around the room.
He made that cake in 15 minutes. Like it's just literally going around the room. They're all like, oh,
Wow. Have you ever had the
Travis Dane is like, who the hell is Casey Ryback?
That's the best. I love that part. Like all the
knows he's like,
mercenaries.
I don't care who he
All
is.
the mercenaries are really like, hey, have you ever tried his spaghetti sauce? And Travis Dane is like, who the fuck's Casey Ryback?
What did he do it on my train besides killing half of your men?
I thought you said your men were the best. So they could handle this.
Oh
They
my
can.
God.
They can.
Oh my gosh. Meanwhile, you see the facts from the PDA coming into the pizza shop. You know,
Finally.
What the hell is this? This isn't a new
This
Lens.
isn't yeah.
Yeah.
We got Mr. Pizza Chef calling the Pentagon.
Right? Like he just picks up the phone and calls Andy Romano, Admiral. What's the Admiral's
Admiral
name?
whoever, right? Yeah.
Just
Admiral
like picks up
Bates.
the phone, and is like, "Hey, Admiral Bates, it's so and so from Mile High Club in Denver, where Casey Ryback works." Like, "Oh, hi."
Right.
Oh my God.
The premise of that whole phone call is stupid, but one of my favorite parts is his reaction. He goes, Casey Ryback's on this train.
Yeah.
Oh, the music
Right?
picks up and everything. What the hell is Casey doing on this train?
It's fantastic because now they know they got a shot, right?
Exactly.
Casey's on the train.
Yeah, we got a man inside. Whoa.
I think we're at the part. It's one of my favorite scenes.
You mean when Casey makes a bomb out of coconut oil,
Yes.
glass, and rum?
Much as hold on,
And a
hold on.
shaker.
As much as that part is dumb, I'm talking about when he goes, I got to go beep somebody, and he gets up there and he throws it, and all hell breaks loose. The
Yes.
musical score kicks in,
Yeah.
and then
Yes.
everything is just like awesome.
Everything that happens after that is, I think we could start every scene with, despite the fact that it's really stupid,
Right.
here's this awesome thing that happens, right?
Yes.
I mean, I feel like we've said that for 8 different scenes
We
already.
have.
Okay, but you're right. He makes his bomb out of coconut oil into a shaker, glass, rum,
Yeah.
and a beeper. He tapes on the shaker.
Right.
Whatever.
Yep.
I'm not a bomb scientist.
He throws it, and the guy looks at, oh, what's this?
He throws it like henchman number 47.
Yeah,
and he
he's
goes,
just
I
like,
got it, guys.
And it says, and it says,
Whoa.
it says you're effed, and it blows up.
Yeah.
Right.
And he takes out, besides him, he takes out 2 other guys, or just like
He starts
crashing
the guy on
computer
fire.
Yeah.
I know. I love stuntmen that will immolate themselves. Like,
Oh, yeah.
totally. It's
Yeah.
awesome.
Oh, it's bad. It's
This
awesome.
dude starts on fire, and he's in the laboratory that this guy has set up, and he's flaming, and he touches
everything. This guy just happens to run around and touch all the computer machines.
Right.
And now Travis Dane's lab is on fire.
He starts to die, realizes he hadn't touched the satellite dish yet, so he falls back.
Literally goes and falls on the satellite dish. Yeah.
He's got the CD and target CD. I can't do anything with the target.
Everett McGill. Yeah. Everett McGill finally just like, this freaking guy, like, stop touching things, and shoots him.
In the melee, the porter comes out of the dumbwaiter and snags the CD-ROM. The same CD-ROM that earlier Dane was like, oh, technology.
Once again.
Could it be porn? Could it be launch codes? We don't know.
300,000 pages of codes. Or
Bondage
BDSM, or 1 hour of BDSM bondage pornography. Technology is amazing.
He's waxing about porn and technology in this on this.
I'll tell you,
CD-ROM.
okay, but if you had to choose between Casey Ryback waxing and Travis Dane waxing,
all day. It's
all day.
It's scenery chewing nonsense, but he delivers it fantastically.
Absolutely.
They all do.
Okay. Yes.
All the bad guys do.
So Morris has come out of the dumbwaiter and snatched the targeting CD. Like, all of the stuff he needs is on this rewritable CD from Walmart or whatever.
It's literally a double-sided. Like,
You get a pack of these for $5.99.
It's literally the DVD of Under Siege.
That's what it is.
It's the flip side where you get you get the full screen on one side,
Widescreen. Audio
widescreen on the
commentary,
other.
special features.
Yes. So but there's big time shootout. Like, Casey shoots a signal flare into a guy's
Oh,
abdomen.
dude, it was great.
Yes.
Guy just boom right
Starts
into
him
the
on
gas.
fire.
Puts the gas down the
Guy
staircase.
rolls down the
Shoots
stairs.
him with the flare gun in the abdomen. This guy rolls down the stairs. Starts the
Fantastic.
whole staircase
Boots
on
him.
fire.
Boots him out the car.
Boots him out the door.
It's awesome.
It's fantastic. Then meanwhile, you got Travis Dane upstairs. Going, they got the CD. They got the target.
Yeah.
He's dialed up to 12. And Morris. I'm like, well, hold on, I'll talk about that in a second, because what's important here is in the melee, Seagal ends up off the train, tackling this other bad guy off the train.
Yeah.
And they're rolling around, now the train is going, and they have to hit the brakes on this train because they think Seagal's got the CD.
Yeah.
But he doesn't. The porter grabbed the CD.
Right.
Yeah.
Who also jumps off the train. And Peter Green follows him with a couple of henchmen. And this whole time I'm like, destroy the CD.
Yeah.
Why do you need to save it?
Would have been easy.
It's a plot
Snap.
device.
And the whole thing is done.
It's probably bulletproof.
It's I don't know. I've used those CDs from Walmart before. It falls out of his pocket, ends up on these rocks underneath a train. They pick it off, they like blow it off, and it works perfectly fine. I get a thumbprint on those things, and it won't work.
Yeah, I know.
Ever again.
One speck of dust, it's just the whole system drops.
Back in '95, that's exactly what was happening.
Right.
I'm like, there's no way this thing
Your
works.
whole computer crashes.
Oh, God.
But yeah, what he did is the porter snuck under the train and had fallen out of his hoodie. And so Peter Green he doesn't go himself, he sends other henchmen to go chase after him.
Yeah, Patrick Kilpatrick, check the porter, got it. And they go.
Got him.
Yeah, porter checked.
Yeah.
But he doesn't even see it. I love how it's like completely out of his field of view, and he's like, "Hey, go get him."
Show me that
and
CD.
they fall over. They fall over like the rocks and into the forest,
that's great.
down the river to Grandma's house, and
He's like at least a mile away from the train.
Yeah, so
Literally.
there's two things happening at the same time, but we'll tackle one at a time. So first, the porter is chased by this guy, like you're saying, and all the way down a mile away, it seems like, from the train.
Right.
Show me the CD.
And he's got his hands up. He doesn't have his gun, or his gun is in his hoodie, but he doesn't know. He's got his hands up.
Yeah.
The bad guy's like, give me the CD, give me the CD.
He's
He
going
tries to
back
tell
to-
him he dropped it. He's actually being honest.
Yeah.
He doesn't believe it. He turns around for a second. He's like, the only thing I got in my pocket is your ass. That's the line of dialogue.
yeah,
It's great.
First
Yeah.
of all, gross.
It's great.
Oh, thing I got my pocket man is your ass.
that's what you got to say it like Morris Chestnut.
That's right.
Like,
yes, he says it great.
because when you say it, it's like, well, yeah, it's a terrible line on paper.
No, but he sells the crap out
But
of it.
Morris
sells
Chestnut,
crap
The only thing I got in your pocket is your ass.
And he shoots the bad guy. And when they hear the gunshots a mile back at the train,
right,
they're like, oh, Porter checked.
exactly. Patrick
He's good.
Kilpatrick's just gonna assume, oh yeah, my guy got the porter.
Right. Meanwhile,
Would you assume anything different?
Meanwhile, Steven Seagal is rappelling off of a freaking canyon.
Just hanging.
I'm just hanging here. I do yoga on the side of a cliff.
I don't know if you know this, but I'm actually the first person that ever climbed Mount Kilimanjaro, so this is like no big deal for me.
Barehanded. Naked.
He's like, yeah, but you're wearing dress shoes. Like, I know, I did that on purpose. I actually
Yes.
climbed the mountain in my dress shoes.
I'm wearing
in the
cleats.
Italian dress shoes.
That's why I wore these. I knew I'd end up on the side of a cliff.
right.
Because again, I have a time machine.
I think I crossed the ravine. I see my boy John Travolta and Christian Slater making a different film.
Yeah. And there's Kurtwood Smith over there.
He ended up, because Seagal rolled off with this other bad guy off the train, and ended up on the side, like clutching the side of a cliff like Wesley in The Princess Bride.
Why didn't you just drop a couple grenades, time it right, and drop a couple of grenades?
Like depth charges on a submarine.
And we're just going to keep sending dudes down.
I love how they have enough time to start attaching mountaineering gear to themselves.
How long do you think that takes?
I'm not going to speculate because I didn't go to Ranger school.
Oh, please speculate.
Oh, no, I'm not going to speculate.
Oh, please
But
speculate.
even for trained mercenaries who, I mean, I'm going to say were in Ranger school, Delta operators, Special Forces, whatever.
Right.
That now they're like attaching mountaineering gear and rappelling down one by one.
Just one by one. Not
one
like
by
10
one.
of them.
Not even in tandem. Right, not even in tandem.
Why don't you just send a whole platoon down?
Exactly. They were in tandem for everything else.
all right.
But now here they are just like, well, here's one of us.
It was like one of those classic PlayStation.
Why don't you just go ahead down? I'll catch up to you.
Exactly.
It's one of those classic experiences of if you ever played like one of the first first-person shooters in PlayStation.
Oh, yeah, when bad guys just come out one by one.
Yes, and you find a corner in a room, and you have all the ammunition in the world, and one guy just keeps entering.
Oh, they just bottleneck.
Because there wasn't enough bit rate in the old game systems to actually have multiple bad guys.
I pulled that move on the recent re-release of GoldenEye in the bunker.
And
I hid in the bunker, and I'm just waiting for these guys.
They would just run in, like really jazzed to be there.
Man.
Just all happy.
You could do it in so many levels. How psychotic were we
Max
as
Payne
10-year-olds?
Same thing, man.
What's that?
You could do that in Max Payne all the time.
Oh,
too.
dude, I love Max Payne.
I literally would just camp out in the facility for hours on GoldenEye. After like Trevelyan dies and the tanks blow, and you could just like sit there if you had invincibility mode.
Yes,
you just sit there and shoot
Waste
bad
everybody.
guys.
You can actually kill Oromov right there, but he'll come back.
Exactly. Right.
Now you can't do that anymore.
So anyway, back to
this. They repel two mountain climbers. Rappel down. He kills both of them. He basically is on the one.
Sure. Once again, this guy climbs out and he's like, he just points his gun and he's like, "Hey, you."
He jumps onto the one guy, kills the other guy that comes down, cuts the rope. They both bodies drop.
Kills the other guy with the guy.
With the guy.
Yeah.
Kills a guy with a guy.
He literally kills a guy with a guy.
Oh, it's wonderful. So obnoxious, but it's great. You guys never learn.
Now he's holding the rope. The rope is attached to the train. And they just start going because they've got the CD back at this point because Penn was like, chance favors the prepared mind, and goes and just knows to look under the train and gets the CD.
And there's the CD laying
there. It is.
How does he know? Here's the thing. How does he when the train takes off and he leans out with his gun and he starts shooting at the rope?
Yes, because now the rope is dragged. So Seagal's being pulled up the mountain. Just so I can explain what's happening.
Sorry.
No, see, Seagal's just holding the rope that's attached to the train. Once they start going again, the train is now pulling Seagal up from however far down he's hanging.
Exactly.
Because the rope is still attached. So, yes, Penn is leaning out trying to shoot the rope.
This is the one thing that didn't make sense to me. I'm like, how did you know they were doing that?
Well, that's the thing. The thing was like, are you, like, wouldn't you just assume that those are still your guys?
Right.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. Like,
So you're like,
shooting your own dudes.
They didn't make it back. Sorry.
And then he gets in after he shoots it, and he looks at Catherine Heigl. I guess your uncle wasn't as good as I thought.
Yeah.
How did you know that was him?
We should say that right before this, he did go and snatch Catherine Heigl out of the hostage car because he saw on the manifest that he had a +1 with him.
A +1.
And because she's got a Navy cross around her neck, he realizes it's her.
Oh, it's pepper spray.
One tiny thing that's super dumb is they've been hostages for 6, 7, 8 hours at this point. They still all have their hands up in the back.
They have them on their heads like this.
On their heads. I'm
like they've just been sitting here for 8 hours like this.
How is that possible?
It's not, first of all.
No, not at all.
But
how are you expecting people to do that?
But now she's a prisoner in the main laboratory car where Travis Dane is and all this stuff. You're right. He comes in. Guess your grandpa
was as good as I thought.
I guess your grandpa kind of sucked balls.
And
then she tries to finger him in the face.
Oh my God, that was awkward.
Right? Thumb to the cheek. Is that a killer death move? How about your eyeball?
I think
Why don't you go for the eye, bro?
It's actually because of the jaw nerves.
Is that what it is?
I think it could be very.
I thought she just missed his eye.
No, there's like if you could hit the hypoglossal in the jawline, it hurts like a mother.
Well, he seemed like it hurt legitimately. He sold it really well, right?
I think he was.
And well, he got a boner, but that's after that.
I'll tell you once again,
scene.
the hypoglossals back here too. By the way, it's not where she hit him, so Yeah.
So she missed.
There had to be more to that move.
He's into it. It's super weird.
It's very
It
weird.
is.
Very
Well, he loves the pain, like when she sprays him with the mace, and he's like, "It's not mace, it's pepper spray." Sooner or later,
Peter Green didn't agree. He was PO'd.
He was he's super into it. Afterwards, he's like, "Oh, that was good.
That was good."
Also, I've got girlfriends your age. I don't know if you know that."
You see Travis Day stops what he's doing, looks over, and goes, "What in the F is this?"
Yeah.
There's so many times he gives these great looks. Dane is just like over all of it, right?
Yes.
He just wants to beat boop on his science machine.
That's all he wants to
And
do.
the mercenaries, he's almost laughing at the mercenaries, dying and doing stuff, right? He's like, whatever. All right, Seagal. Seagal is now off the train, and the train is taken off. And there's a moment of him staring as he just watches the train pull away, and he's like, "Damn it, I want to be in the rest of this movie." So he
Immediately runs up to a truck, opens the hood.
Now, Craig Soto is one of our patrons. Craig Soto wrote in for the awards, and he did add to his thing. He goes, "Are you kidding? There's just a truck sitting there with exposed cords that start a car. Give me a freaking break." The thing is just sitting there.
I agree.
Should we leave this truck here at this work site, guys? Yeah, make sure somebody can start it if they need it. So make sure you get that.
By the way, prep it for being hot wired, just in case.
Make sure it has a nice. Make sure it has a good lift on it, because it needs to get air.
Right, we need to get super air.
It needs to go over the mountain range.
God, he's such an asshole. Steven Seagal is such an asshole.
Do you think he wrote that scene?
He drives.
I'm sure he did. He probably came in and was like, "Guys, just make sure I could just pop the hood and you
Right.
He didn't care. He was like,
no, for sure.
I just want to know.
I just want to get in the truck and go."
The more scenes
I was
he
the greatest mechanic in UIT or whatever the hell that school
when I worked
was.
in Nagasaki in the Tochiki plant,
The Kiki plant.
when I worked at the Mitsubishi plant,
right.
I used to.
They used my blood for the first trial of COVID.
So I got that going for me.
Oh my god.
He drives his truck down this mountain range, trying to catch up to this train, and then he gets to a cliff face that's above the train. He dives out of a moving car. Okay,
Are we to the ticking clock yet?
we're about there.
Yeah. Okay.
So he launches this car as he jumps out of it over the train. Cool shot, right?
Like I said, musical score in that scene, great.
Yeah.
And it's right after that scene happens. Right after Admiral Bates. It's like Casey Ryback's on this train. He's on a vacation with his niece, sir, and it cuts right back to the getting him driving and all that.
That
It's a great shot.
It's a great shot. It's a great setup. And I love it's the 90s, so it's a real car. They're not launching a CG car over a train.
Right.
And so love that. That's all awesome. Mm-hmm. And then he jumps from a pretty high up onto the top of the moving train, no problem.
Steven Seagal, stuntman, jumps off of the cliff.
Let's be clear.
We're going to get an A+ to Steven Seagal, stuntman.
Yes.
Onto the train.
Absolutely. And so he's back. And this point, yes, we're getting to the point where they've now tested it out on China. The satellite has been used to blow up a plane. Now they're going with their master plan, which is moving it into position to take out Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
And
so Travis Dane's whole thing is that there's a nuclear reactor in the basement of the Pentagon.
Right.
And with they crack it with the tectonic weapon, it'll basically collapse the entire eastern seaboard.
And so they've got 20 minutes.
So now, boom, ticking clock pops up at
in the Pentagon even.
Yeah, probably
20. They got the timer there too.
I can't even imagine they wouldn't. But like here they are in this little secret lab. Like, oh no, by the way, boop, 20 minutes
until everybody's dead.
Yes, this is one of my favorite tropes.
Oh, let's hit it.
Firstly, you got ticking clock.
Yes.
Okay, and I love how Admiral Bates is just like, well, scramble the jets. And it like cuts to
the stealth bombers.
It cuts to the like just two F-117 Nighthawks that are just once again like the guys are just like, all right, here we go, and boop, they're in the air.
They
and like
sleep in those jets.
Cuts back to ticking clock, and it's been like 30 seconds that have passed.
You know how fast American fighter pilots go?
That's right. They sleep in the jet.
they just
to the danger zone.
That's right, and that's what they fall asleep to in their headphones. They got to listen to that song
just in case someone's like, by the way, scramble the jets.
Right, and the first thing that happens is that Kenny Loggins comes
they're just
on.
like they're just like they just wake up and they're like, all right, let's go.
Oh, all right, we're in this.
Here we are.
What movie is this? Is this Top Gear or Top Gun? Is this Top Gun?
Yeah.
Can you imagine if Clarkson from Top Gear was in this movie?
Yeah, man. I love Clarkson. All right.
Stupid stuff like this just kills me.
No, you love it.
Meanwhile, the choice for the Pentagon is figure out which of these ghost satellites, which they're knocking them off one at a time, but they're not going to be able to get through them all.
So there's 50 of them,
There's
right?
50 that start off.
50 ghost satellites.
So they either can do the self-destruct if they figure out which is the right one, or they send these bombers, and at the last second, if they have to, they'll blow up the train.
Right.
To save.
You
kill 2,000 people.
Yeah.
But you save 8 million.
Classic.
And then they also find out they have the Nevada Petroleum Express carrying 800,000 gallons of gasoline.
Yes. Pretty
But
soon.
wait a minute.
Barreling,
Not yet,
right.
yes.
Oh, sorry.
But wait a minute. There's more. Well, they got the stealth bomber in space.
Yes.
Armed with only one Pegasus missile.
Yes.
A whole B-2 bomber.
Yeah.
A stratosphere bomber.
Yes.
That they're just like, well, we'll give him one missile.
That should be enough, right?
Well, that should
They
be
give
fine.
them one? Yeah, those are expensive.
Well, I
Don't
guess
give them two.
they you know what, they took out the wrong
Taxpayers'
satellite.
dollars, sir. We can't.
So they technically had two because they
Right.
took out the wrong satellite.
Right. That's where we find out there's
so
ghosts.
Why do we
So
only
now
have one
there's-
Pegasus missile? Well, we lost a lot of money, sir, on the
Yeah.
Bill
Right.
Clinton
They're
scandal.
the Bill Clinton thing, you know.
It's cost us a buttload. So let's just make sure we get this right.
The Bill Clinton debt ceiling, you know. It's just
All right, so Peter Green Zed finds the porter in the baggage car
Right.
at this point, before we know Casey's back on the plane.
Great scene.
But before he can do eeny, meeny, miny, mo to Morris Chestnut,
Right.
okay,
Hey, you want to help me out here, man?
yeah, he sees Casey behind him, and Casey kills him in 4 seconds.
yeah,
One of the most
yeah.
brutal neck breaks I've
Yes.
witnessed.
But like, why wouldn't you mine the fact that he trained him in Fort Hood for some kind of a moment there between the two of them? Like, they don't even reference it,
You don't say.
right? Like,
Yeah.
you set up that backstory.
Right.
It didn't have to be long, 2-3 lines of dialogue back and forth, something to acknowledge that they knew each other,
Right, sure.
and then snap his neck.
Has Peter Green ever said anything about Steven Seagal?
No, I don't see anything
know.
about him.
But it's just, you just wasted that potentially good moment there.
You don't say.
Tell us how you feel about that,
Yeah.
Ryan.
Oh, we got more to get through.
The 20-minute clock is ticking, and these two, even after he kills Peter Green, this 20-minute clock is ticking, and they are just chilling
Yeah.
in the baggage car.
And now it's down to like 17 minutes and 30 seconds.
Right.
So
back
now
at,
all
back
of
at
this,
headquarters in a Coors banquet later.
So we got 42 of these 50 ghost satellites down. We got bombers in the air. We got stealth fighter
Yes.
jets coming to this plane or coming to
Yeah.
the train. Peter Green's dead.
Yeah, and they're just
Travesty.
chilling.
And it's like 2 minutes have gone by.
This is when Dane switches the tracks, right? And he's like,
Yeah.
next stop, dark territory. He said the thing.
He did.
He said the subtitle.
Well, they're not going to say, next stop, Under Siege 2, Dark Territory. I wish he would have. Could
yeah.
you imagine how great that would have been?
It would have been awesome.
But this is where it sets up the collision. Now that he switched tracks, they're going to collide with this other train carrying all this
Yeah.
gasoline.
Well, now
Well,
they're in
they're-
dark territory. So that's the whole
And Admiral
premise.
Bates was like, do you think he'll do the job for us?
Not going to
maybe?
be in time.
Not going to be in time.
Probably.
Right.
And so Morris is actually the one that notices the imminent collision because he sees they're on the wrong side of the tracks from the town. And he says, hey, there's another train that uses this line. We're going to collide and all that stuff.
Tell me this. I think he's like, we normally pass on the inside, not the outside.
Right.
But they're driving
On the inside?
On the inside.
Yeah, no, I know.
Okay.
You don't say.
I'm just
Maybe there's a...
just making sure the logistics of that were clear.
Oh, that was the first time he dropped the word logistics.
And he,
Crap.
and Seagal, again, super cash. And he literally says, the way he delivers, he's like, we are going to rescue these hostages, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's it. He does.
He does. If we don't do something, they're all going to die.
Stealth bombers coming in, but
Morris is all like, I'm just jumping in the last car and I'm cutting the brakes
right.
and I'm out of here because we're gonna crash into the petrol express as you surmised. Yeah.
no, we're going to rescue these hostages, man. Cool. We'll leave in 10. Is that cool?
I normally like to save the world 2 minutes before detonation.
Tell you. look. The stakes are there, everybody. Like we've laid the groundwork, we've laid the tracks.
So the first bomber's coming in, and Dane, because he's smarter than them, remember he warns him, he goes, I'm smarter than you. I was before, I am after, all that stuff.
Yep.
He's like, how do we find these stealth? He's like, oh, low altitude turbulence. That's how you find these things.
Yeah.
Right? And he's
Sure.
able to figure out
He's able to somehow measure the low altitude turbulent displacement
Right. From his
that
Apple 64.
these stealth fighter jets are causing in the air.
Just want to let the listeners know that Ryan Farrell's an expert on anything. There's no sense in arguing.
I'm not an expert on everything.
Because
he
I'm
is
not.
on,
I'm
he
not
is
an
on
expert.
low low altitude turbulence.
Low altitude turbulent displacement.
That's he knows all about that.
Are you on the crapper a lot with your phone? Is this the crap that you Google? Most people like Google like Pam Anderson boobs. Low altitude turbulence.
How much firepower? How many mega rams does he really have in that thing? Okay.
Why are you encouraging this?
I doubt he's able to do half of what he does from this moving train.
But he's Travis freaking Dane.
I understand that. I understand.
Oh, that's great.
He would have been Steve Jobs if he'd only lived long enough to invent the iPhone, right?
If only. Maybe he knew Steve Jobs.
He's able to use the satellite, not mess up his timetable somehow.
No.
And blow up this stealth bomber.
So the Grazer one is on a trajectory in space.
Yes, an orbit.
An orbit, which you know how those are pretty finite.
I found that on my phone too.
Oh, that explains a lot.
So he's able to now take this satellite out of its orbit, that it's on its perfect orbit to go to his master plan. And he's like, well, let's just move it over here, over freaking Denver. And then we'll just cut it back to Washington, D.C.
That's right. And the time doesn't change.
And once again, it's like, well, now the ticking clock has gone from 17 minutes and 30 seconds to 16 minutes.
Right. No big deal.
No big deal.
Reverses the elliptical orbit of the satellite.
Right.
It's all well and good.
Yep.
This was my next thing is my favorite Seagal thing that happens in the movie. I can't wait to talk about this. So meanwhile, Seagal comes up with the most Steven Seagal plan of all time. He's in the he's like, all right, look, he's this lady in the bathroom. When you go back out there, there's going to be a bunch of terrorists. First thing you do is you show them them boobies. That's how we're going to save these hostages.
Because they're just bad for
right. And so she comes. This is his plan.
So the terrorist knocks like, hey, what's taking so long in there?
It's past your 5 minutes.
She comes out with her shirt unbuttoned. She goes, my bra broke, and pushes her boobs together. And the guy's like, boobs.
Drops gun, drops everything. Yes.
Everything. And then Seagal kills him, and he's like, and then after I kill him, I'm gonna. I swear he planned this in the bathroom with them.
Yeah.
After I kill him, I'm gonna say, "Tits to die for." It's gonna be great. All right, you ready? Let's go.
I want to know. And this is like one of those toss-ups. Like, so did Steven Seagal come up with this, or did a 20-year-old Matt Reeves come up with this?
I want to believe it was Seagal.
I 100% agree.
I can't imagine once, because this was a Matt Reeves vehicle that was not meant for Seagal, but like they doctor things when people get cast. I've got to assume they added in things for Seagal that would fit his character. And I want to believe with every fiber of my being this was his idea.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And then they break out, and now they're in the hostage cars, and the amount of gunfire around these hostages is crazy.
This is, yes.
Because they're taking out the people guarding the hostages at this point.
And of course, nobody's aiming.
No, Morris Chestnut comes in and hip fires a machine gun right in front of all these hostages.
And he just happens to hit the bad guy.
Right.
Man, he's just going off of what he learned in the hood.
He's spraying and praying.
Yes.
No, Bob, this is a kill shot. This is not.
Hey. Ricky Baker knows.
Ricky Baker knows. Boys in the Hood. Thank you, John Singleton.
Yeah, but he died in that movie.
I know. I know.
All right, so he's... I'm sorry, I lost my point. Okay, here we go. He's the most capable porter of all time.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Because right after this, he separates the passenger cars.
He does his idea, separates the car
from the train.
Yeah.
Saves because now they're not going to be harmed in the collision that's coming down the tracks.
Nope.
He saved the passengers. Then Seagal tells him to climb up this ladder. A helicopter that's going to evacuate Travis Dane shows up with a ladder like the ones you saw like Otis trying to climb in Superman.
Oh my God.
Into the hot air balloon.
And the Joker at the end of Batman.
Yep. Comes in with his ladder flying in, and he's like, all right, here's what I want you to do. You're a porter for this train, right? All right, I want you to climb this ladder and commandeer a freaking helicopter.
I want you to climb this ladder and commandeer the military helicopter over there.
And he literally ends it with, and it might not work, but and then he trails off, and that's the end of his dialogue.
Where are you going? The girl.
He's like, it might not work, but you might probably get killed, but you should try and commandeer this.
That's
helicopter.
It actually
It is
because I know it was something. I know it was something like.
Hey, want to do something? Go up there.
Work.
Commandeer that helo. Were you crazy, man? You want me to go up there? It may not work, but give it a try. Where are you going?
What he says.
The girl walks away.
The girl.
He's like, I'm a regular guy who isn't good at anything. It's like, I know, that's my whole life story.
It should have just been worse. It should have just been.
So here's another moment where he could have just been like, when I was a boy, I got brought aside when I was 7 by an Aikido master.
That's right.
Oh my God.
He said, you're the first American ever that we've ever allowed to do this, but I need you to build a helicopter out of sticks and bamboo. And then you can work in our dojo.
And then perhaps I want you to stretch the skin of a bat wing over the roto blades. I'm just talking now. I don't even know.
Wow.
Listen, the guy is a bullshit artist. Okay? Listen, if you get a chance, go and listen to some of the stories and things and different articles and interviews and things that he has said have happened to him in his life and claimed things that were just couldn't possibly. He's that guy. We all at some point in our life met that guy, whether it was at a job or school or whatever, that said he was a Navy SEAL and an MMA fighter and a CIA agent and all this stuff. And they're full of crap.
Yep.
This is one of those guys who just happened to end up on a huge platform.
All while running a yoga studio in South America for blind children.
Sorry.
That's Jacob Thane's thing. Don't ever take it away. Don't ever associate Jacob Thane, the janitor, with Steven Seagal.
He just told me not to associate the janitor with Steven Seagal.
Oh, the janitor would
when he said
kill Seagal
30 minutes ago that this movie is an inspiration for the janitor.
but we're going to do it right.
Do it right.
I know. By the way, log on to our Indiegogo. I'm just saying, we don't
Go to our
have
Kickstarter.
one. Go to our Kickstarter.
Right.
Drop some dime to the janitor because that'll be awesome.
So Morris Chestnut's climbing up this freaking ladder. He actually does. He's like, okay, I'll commandeer this. They, again, dispatch Lady Death to follow him up the ladder.
Yeah.
And
So great.
she's obviously proven herself to be a skilled hand-to-hand combat.
Skilled everything.
Everything.
She literally should have been the second in command bad guy.
She gets up the ladder. Now they're in the back of the chopper fighting. The pilot's up front. They're in the back fighting. He's getting beat up because, again, he's a porter from a train. Mm-hmm. And because one point earlier in the movie, he got flipped on his back by a girl, he knew how to do the move.
He knew exactly how to do the move.
He pivots his hand around her wrist and Aikido throws her ass right out of the chopper.
And she bounces off the side of the train. And then one of the best lines. Oh,
the pilot says,
we sure showed that boy how to fly. Oh, yes, we did, honey. So what we're going to do, we're going to keep this chopper right here, okay?
That's right.
Or I'm going to blow your brains out.
That's right.
You got that,
he's got the
honey?
gun on the chopper.
All these presumptions from these skilled mercenaries.
Right. And even their main guy has a catchphrase about it. Assumption is the mother of all F-ups.
Right.
And they do a whole lot of assuming throughout the entire
That's true.
movie.
I forgot. That's Marcus Pence saying.
Yeah.
Assumption is the mother of all F-ups.
Yeah.
And literally scene after scene,
Everything's
these
an F-up.
mercenaries are assuming that they just win.
Everything.
Yeah.
All right. So meanwhile, Seagal is starting to panic because the movie's almost over and he hasn't snapped someone's arm yet. So he's got to fight a couple more bad guys before he gets to Penn. Mm-hmm. Right. And he's got to snap a dude's arm. It's like a trademark for Seagal.
And now we're at 12 minutes on the ticking clock.
At this point, something weird happened. And Craig pointed this out too when he wrote in. There's one point where he goes into a room, a car or whatever, baggage room. Mm-hmm. Not the baggage room, but like a compartment where there's nowhere for him to hide. The bad guy follows him in there and then he's behind the bad guy.
Yeah.
Like, this kind of stuff doesn't make any sense.
Right. No, it didn't.
Okay. But he fights the dude, and he does his Seagal stuff, smack you in the face, karate chop you in the neck.
Sure.
Patented arm break.
Patented Aikido master stuff.
The freaking fake arm you always see.
Right.
The fingers always splayed out.
Roddy Piper's him to sleep.
That's right. Roddy Piper's him to sleep. Fights a few more guys. We're down now to 8 ghost satellites left. Mm-hmm. And Admiral Bates is like, I don't know, why don't we let this loser pick one over here that said something stupid earlier?
It's true. This guy that's been giving me a hard time ever since I've been here. I'm just gonna let him pick one.
Let this nobody pick one.
Right. This jackass who was zooming in on titties earlier.
Hey, those are voluptuous. They were perfect.
So they can activate the self-destruct on one of these, so they just pick one. It's the wrong one.
No, this is for their last Pegasus missile.
Oh, the last Pegasus missile.
Right.
Thank you.
So it's like, 7 minutes on the ticking clock?
Yep.
And they're like, well, we have 8 left. What are we going to do? I don't know. Pick one. Let's use the Pegasus missile on it.
Yeah, 1 out of 8 chance.
Yeah.
Okay.
Didn't Travis Dane take out another plane on top of the train.
Well, yeah, that was the one.
It
yeah.
blew up all over the train.
The stealth bomber, yeah.
It
It didn't do anything.
No, of course not.
What? The F-117?
No, it was made out of balsa wood. You couldn't see that when it blew up?
He took one out. He took 2 of them out in the air, and they sent another one in. So they sent a third one in.
No, there's just 2.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
it was the
one
second
in
one.
one in the midair off the computer monitor, and then he took out one above the train.
Exactly. And it doesn't harm the train.
Not at all.
This
No, because the stealth bomber, when it blew up, you could see the wood shards flying at the camera.
kind of funny, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But here's our Pegasus missile debacle.
Yeah.
Where we're like, all right, well, we still got 7 minutes. We've clearly already been sitting around here just for 13 minutes. Just wait until you have a visual lock on a target that's above Washington, D.C.
Right. You can eliminate
It's
all
like-
of the ones that are in Asia.
Right.
And they're all over the
right.
world, these
It's
satellites.
Like, have your guy, apparently these freaking stealth bombers can go anywhere in the country in 3 minutes.
Yep.
It's like, all right, hover right here with your one Pegasus missile.
gotta
And when
admit.
you see,
yeah, I admit it.
and it's like when you have a visual confirmation of a singular satellite that is over Washington, D.C.,
He's mad.
blow it up.
Yeah, he's
Instead
mad.
of this jackassery of, well, there's 8 left, pick one. What is that that's like a 12.5% chance that you're going to get it right. 12.5%. You're hinging the
know.
eastern seaboard on 12.5%.
I like those odds. I say
Who
let it
made
ride.
this an admiral? Who made this guy an admiral?
I didn't know
Anyway,
he was a satellite scientist.
anyway,
I didn't know that was required for being an admiral. It was make sure you're a satellite scientist.
anyway.
He must have got an associate's degree at Gateway.
Did he? He went to CLC.
He went to Parkside.
He went to CLC with you for a semester.
All right.
Yeah, I'm honored to say I dropped out.
Let's mercifully get to the freaking showdown with Penn.
Oh, I love the showdown. The
So-
classic walk.
The classic 30 seconds of crap. All right, here we go.
All right. So, jeez.
How was it crap?
Let's just get to the showdown.
No, we are at the showdown.
Oh, no.
We're
not.
at the showdown.
We're there.
We're almost there. So Ryback walks in and he gets the whole length of a car to walk ominously towards Penn. He sees his niece with a noose around her neck,
Like some fishing wire or something.
whatever it's made out of.
Yeah, I have no idea.
She's connected there. That door opens. Penn hands Sarah a grenade
Yes.
and says, hold on to this real tight or you're going to blow up.
Pulls the pin.
Pulls the pin.
Yeah.
Hands it to her.
Oh, yeah.
And now he walks forward and the two of them are going to have a fight in
Here
the
we
next
go.
car.
All
Here
right.
we go.
Yeah, here we go.
It. Great stakes. The stakes are there
Stakes
again.
are fantastic.
Once again,
Music
stakes are
build-up's great.
fantastic.
Nicely shot.
Yep, nicely shot. Build up is great. And here we go.
My favorite line of dialogue in the entire movie is they each have a knife, right? Like,
Right.
oh, this is Under Siege 2. We got to have another knife.
Gotta have a
fight.
knife fight.
Right.
So they both pull out their respective knives. Of course, Seagal's is slightly bigger
Oh, yeah,
than the
absolutely.
bad guys. It's
Right,
like, listen to me. We're switching knives or I'm not doing this movie.
Oh, that's 100% the conversation.
Yep.
I guarantee. I think, in all honesty, I think Evan McGill would waste Seagal.
But after they like the fight has just started, they've made their first couple swipes and Seagal slices open his coat and the look on Everett
Oh,
McGill's
yes.
face is, hell, you wrecked my coat. The way he said it was so great.
It was great.
I was cheering for him.
Yeah. You don't say.
And I'm like, I know I shouldn't be. I don't want all these 8 million people to die. But
He's a good bad guy.
He's a great bad guy. He stabbed Kilpatrick 2 minutes before that in the throat.
Oh, yeah. I forgot that he kills Kilpatrick.
right, because he was saying, you know,
We should cut and run.
Cut and run.
Yeah.
basically.
Talking.
What did you say to me?
Yeah. Would
All right. The rest of the fight, though, is a slap fight for the most part.
Yeah,
Bob.
so the rest of I think the fight works really well, and this is on editing and the music. The music and the editing of the fight makes the fight a little bit better than what actually happens on screen.
You don't say.
Well, because the whole second half
I'm
of
gonna
the fight.
slap you. I'm gonna
look,
slap those headphones right off
like
you
the
on your
fight too.
bald head. I'm not saying the fight's great by
I
any
know.
stretch of the imagination, but I'm saying like the power of music and cinematography, all the
It did as much as it could to salvage
It did
Yes.
as
It
much
worked
as it could
really hard.
to
Yeah.
overcome a A-list star with the ego the size of the train
bigger than
Who
the train.
apparently did no choreography for this at all.
who evidently can never get hit.
He literally, Bob, and I love this fight too, especially when I watched it back in the 90s.
Yeah.
When while watching it for the first time, there's parts of it that I'm like, oh, why didn't I notice this before? The whole second half of the fight, how many times did they change positions where he would Seagal would slap his hand and they'd spin around?
Yeah.
Spin around.
Yeah.
They did it 9 different times.
I'm not agreeing with what was done, but I'm going to say there was some great moments where they roll down the stairs, he stands up, he walks towards him, he's holding the knife, and then he slaps the knife out of his hand, just does that
that's great.
Rapid fire punch right up the guy's head. That was great.
That's
and
actual
then
choreography.
He did the hip toss thing, and then they're on the ground doing that. I'm not talking about the time where they're spinning 9 times and doing this. That was obnoxious.
Half of the fight is him just not even touching him, just waving his hands.
Doing this.
Waving his hands in front of his face.
That's BS. Now, I'll say that's BS.
There's 19 shots of this.
You know what else is BS?
19 shots.
The fact that they have Everett McGill, Marcus Penn has been built up this whole movie. This is the guy that's leading this mercenary army. Like they even do that cutback to like the dossier on Marcus Penn in one of the, expo dump scenes.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, this guy, he's, blibbity blue blah, blibbity blue blah. So if he's all this, like all that in a bag of potato chips, and then nope, he
doesn't even land a hit.
Doesn't land a hit.
He does. There's one. And actually this is the one time Seagal, he gets Penn on the ground. Now they're in the kitchen at this point, I think. Penn does land a kick directly to Seagal's face and actually knocks him down.
Yeah.
I stood up out of my couch and I was like,
whoa.
Somebody kicked him in the face.
Somebody kicked him?
It's incredible. It was like... I couldn't believe it. It was like, let's celebrate.
Gosh.
And yeah, it followed the same trend as the fight with Tommy Lee Jones, because Tommy Lee Jones got thrown across that room.
Yeah.
And then got a knife to the head.
And Tommy Lee Jones, who's a capable fighting actor.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not agreeing with the fact that everybody else had to eat dingus and got this character build up, and then they got what's the term?
Any other actor, whether it was Van Damme, Stallone, Arnold, would have had a knockdown, drag out fight.
Van Damme had a fight with the worst villain in his filmography in Desert Heat,
and the guy smacked him around,
and that guy was smacking Van Damme around, and that didn't make any sense.
That's what I'm saying.
I said to myself, I'm like, I would watch John McClane fight Carl 100 more times than watch Casey Ryback fight Penn once.
100%.
No, I agree with you.
And they had an opportunity in a cool, tight-quartered space in a train car to do all kinds of cool stuff. Did you ever see the fight in From Russia with Love between Robert Shaw and Sean Connery?
Yes.
They're in this tight little car,
way back.
It's awesome.
A throwback there for sure.
That was a great fight scene.
Great fight scene.
Yep.
And then we get this.
Now, parts of this fight scene were good. But like I said, the editing, the music, and certain parts of it were really good. And the fact that Everett McGill is quickly dispatched in 2 minutes, with a net break, and then the dumbest line, "No one beats me in the kitchen."
Could have been a great line if it were someone else.
Exactly. So there's so much great lines in the film, but when he says it, you're just like,
all right. Another stupid thing that happens during this fight, it cuts upstairs. Now, Travis Dane is still in the same room with Sarah, who's holding a grenade here. And so he's now set up. He got little minutes to spare on this ticking clock.
Yeah.
He's set everything up to go. He's got his laptop and his walkie-talkie, and he's telling her, have fun dying, basically, right?
Have fun dying.
I'm out of here.
Throw the grenade at him.
That's what I was going to say, yeah.
She threatens him.
She threatens, I'll drop this grenade.
Drop it, lawn dart at the back of that fro.
Okay. Because they're standing near each other.
Yeah.
She's basically saying, I'll take myself out and you. And he goes, go ahead and drop it then. But then he walks away enough distance where I'm like, well, throw it now. Because now you won't get killed by it.
Right.
Yeah. The shrapnel won't go that far as he's walking.
She's a 16-year-old girl. She can't do it.
Oh, come on. She could have chucked a grenade across a rail car.
I'm saying psychologically.
Oh, psychologically.
She just was not prepared to take a life.
Oh, fine.
After all her training with her awesome uncle and her father being in the Navy as well.
Well,
she just...
Her awesome uncle comes upstairs after killing Penn, and he's about, Travis Dane's about to walk out the door.
On top of the fact that she also has dead parents now. Like,
it's true.
If there's a time as any for you to be like, you know what, my 16-year-old self is going to fall on the sword, boom,
Well, they set
right
her up,
now.
They set her up to have all these fighting capabilities, and none of it ever paid off.
No,
never paid off.
And this is the moment for it, and she chickens out.
And Travis Dane physically could have been a believable match for, like, she could have overpowered him. And it's not like she would have. Sometimes these movies, they have these people overpower. Like, I'm like, I don't believe that at all.
Right.
But Travis Dane, she could have Aikido'd him.
Yeah.
And it would have paid off the whole setup. They set up this whole thing and it never paid off.
Nope, not at all.
And so Casey has to come up and do it himself. He's about to jump out onto this ladder for this train. And he's like, there's no way you could stop it. No matter what you do, everything's set in motion. Ha, 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 ha. And he literally just shoots him in the computer that he's holding in front of him, the laptop, right?
Cool. It's cool.
It's cool. All this setup.
You're telling me there's no way I could shut that off? And just
all this waxing about technology and intelligence and all this. And this final solution was, I shoot it with gun.
I shoot it with
the most basic caveman reaction of a man. This is what I say to technology.
It's true, though.
It is true.
It's true.
And so Travis Dane goes, I didn't think of that.
You
guys leave, and then you're like, you guys leave a lot of damn windows open. No wonder we can't. The electric bill on this train is terrible.
That's right. Bob would have just been that hostage going, can we close the freaking windows, please? You're born in a barn.
Born in the barn, shut the door. They're probably born in the barn, other primitives.
Yeah. This guy who leaves his windows open in November.
Not on a train.
No,
if you're a bad guy, just air sealed.
He falls out of the train. More to say on that in a second. Now we get what is, and I will give it all the credit in the world. The collision of the two trains was freaking awesome.
Jonathan Banks just smiles at his own death.
Literally,
that's where we find out there's still five henchmen in the front car.
I mean,
they're just like, we're dead.
Like Scotty. Yes, Scotty, Jonathan Banks, literally a 12-frame cutaway to a zoom up of him just like
smiling,
like, yeah, here I go.
That's got to be the quickest.
Why is he still there,
dude? Seriously, like you said, you don't even need to do anything. Like, just put the where's the parking brake? Right there. Turn it off. Okay, where's the acceleration? Right there. All right, turn it on. Let's go.
We don't need to drive the train like it's going to go off the tracks if you're not sitting there.
I don't tell you.
On a crazy train.
The collision probably done with well, I know probably it was done with a mix of miniatures and practical, like large scale things.
Yeah,
and
it was well done.
The collision itself was very well done.
Yes,
very well shot. It was awesome. The explosions were awesome. What was freaking hilarious, what I could not get over, is Seagal's casual running through the derailment. So the first shot we see of him getting thrown across a car, there's couches and things nailing him.
Yeah.
Next shot,
like a locomotive coming through the car, like the full face of a locomotive just
cuts in front of him to the worst green screen shot of him running towards like stationary running.
I don't think he's ever run in a film ever again.
But you can tell he's just picking him up and putting him down like he's running in place in front of a camera.
Yeah.
And the destruction's happening behind him. They use it for 12 frames. It's not even a full second.
But I think a stuntman's actually doing the actual running through the destruction when you see him.
The one cut to Seagal is the most casual jog. Behind him, destruction and mayhem. And he's just like, ooh, here we go.
You know, Under Siege 2.
I don't know if you knew this, but I couldn't be killed by trains, so I'm not even worried about this.
Under Siege 2 is the first movie in which Steven Seagal had to wear a girdle to contain his belly.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Just own it. I would own it. I mean, I got a belly. I got a dad bod.
While they here's the best part from a filmmaking standpoint. Oh, do you have something? Go ahead.
The cutaway to Travis Dane?
Yes.
Were you just going to talk about this?
I was just going to talk about this. They realize after the fact they never got a shot of him like establishing he's still alive on the ground somewhere, okay?
Yeah.
Because he's about to reappear jumping onto the ladder with Casey, right? So what they used at the end of the movie, he's clinging onto the side of the helicopter, right? We'll get to that in a second. But there's a downward shot of him going, right back. And they just use that shot. It's a still image.
It is a still image
of him clinging onto the helicopter, but now it looks like he's just clinging onto the rocks.
Yes.
On the ground. And they move the image like this a little bit.
Photoshopped it. It's like they photoshopped it in a resolution of maybe 120 pixels.
And they forgot to take the flames off his ass.
That's what I'm saying. It's
There's little flames.
He's still on fire. And it's a quick cutaway. You have the trains colliding in the background.
Yeah.
Which by all, if you like put this on a storyboard, it would be like, this is going to be an epic freaking shot.
Right.
Oh, and then it's like,
it's seriously like you're in a game and it starts to lag. That's what it looks like, right? It's just like,
yeah, it is. It like his body, his reaction, Travis Dane's like it literally is like a lag effect of him just going like.
Meanwhile, Casey
I rewound this 5 times.
Dude, I did the same thing.
It was a cool shot when the last shot of the run where he does the quick whip and all that stuff.
Or he does the quick rip through.
Got to be the stunt man. And then dives right onto the ladder.
Casey Ryback grabs a ladder as the final car is falling off the bridge.
Yeah.
Great shot. It 100% was not Seagal.
Yeah.
Because it was athletic.
Yeah. It was wonderful.
Because it required skill.
And so here's the other thing that makes sense. Now the ladder's up in the air and he had to jump to get it, but somehow Dane, who was lying on the rocks, is now able to leap onto this ladder and is holding on to Casey Ryback.
Yeah.
And
after being shot in the abdomen
up top
and
in the
falling
actual
out of a train.
In the actual helicopter
yeah.
is Sarah, who's climbed up there herself, and Morris is still up there with the gun on the pilot.
Right.
And she hits the button for the ladder winch. And I swear to God, like, what ladder winch? Second of all, I guarantee you Seagal was like, I'm not climbing this ladder. You're going to have to pull it up.
You're going to have to pull it up.
Or it's not, the scene's not happening. And so all he has to do is hang on to the ladder and it pulls him up to the thing.
Yeah.
Ladder winch. Very heroic.
Oh, yeah.
And what would be better? An action sequence where you're having to climb the ladder and fight off the bad guy?
Yeah, sure.
You know, like Temple of Doom style?
Oh, dude,
awesome.
That'd been awesome.
Anything.
But no, Seagal doesn't fight on a ladder.
Hit the button, and pull me up.
Hit the button, pull me up.
You just see I can see the Family Guy comedy skit of this. I hit the button, pull me up. That's right. Peter Griffin just hanging.
I don't know if I've ever seen a ladder winch. I know those rescue rafts have winches, but I don't think like a rope ladder as a winch on a helicopter.
They use it in Expendables 3.
That same kind of ladder?
A ladder?
The ladder winch that pulled Stallone up from the...
Well, there wasn't a way that 68-year-old Stallone was going to climb either.
It's like it just rolls the ladder
rolls
like a tarp roll. Yeah.
Okay, whatever.
I mean, sure, why not?
Just
we'll go with that.
Just say okay.
I don't have a problem with the ladder winch.
Ultimately, Seagal gets into the... No, I think it's funny to me, not that they use a ladder winch, but why they probably used a ladder winch.
Right.
Yeah,
that's what's
exactly.
He's a fat ass.
Yes, right.
Seagal gets into the helicopter, and now Dane is holding on, by his fingers to this helicopter.
Yeah.
This guy suddenly nerd rage activated all this physical strength that he had, right?
Ryback!
It's
not even sound like him. It sounds like a mutated frog.
It's probably Matt Reeves doing ADR in post. And Seagal just shuts the chopper door.
Oh, it's great.
It cuts off his fingers.
Ride's closed, and he, shuts. He doesn't say that, but he should have.
I was gonna say it would have been.
With his body on fire, falling into.
You see the fingertips get left behind.
Yep,
on the helicopter.
Yep,
like Total Recall style, but not nearly as cool.
No.
And see you at the potty, Richter. And
it's funny because it's like an amalgamation of all these like previously cool death scenes.
Yes.
Whereas like you get that to, like, and then his falling is very reminiscent of Hans Gruber and Die Hard of all of that. Sure. And yeah,
Casey Ryback wins, and they go to his brother's gravesite, and good God, it's the end of the movie. Ready to give this movie some awards?
And God forbid, I'll tell you, Roger Ebert gave this movie 3 stars.
I know, it gave him a good review. I saw it.
So I have someone in my corner. Thank you, Roger Ebert.
And that's a big.
I love Roger Ebert.
That guy was a great reviewer.
Roger Ebert gave this movie 3 out of 4 stars.
Yeah, it's entertaining.
Couldn't believe it.
For an ending in which they're like, all right, well, we killed the bad guy. Now let's go stand by this grave and roll the credits.
Roll the credits. That's the whole thing. And Bob, you're going to get your chance here to defend the movie.
My God.
I don't need to defend it.
You're not going to try and defend the movie?
I'll defend it.
Okay. So we're going to give this movie some awards as we always do. And we'll start with the most prestigious award we give out, the Will Patton Award for Intensity.
You want a war? I'll give you a war!
Oh, God, this movie needed a Will Patton.
It literally, like, Will Patton should have been in the movie.
You blitz all night! And if they cross the line of scrimmage, I'm going to take every last one of you out. You make sure they remember forever the night they played the Titans.
Yeah, man, I would have ran through a brick wall after that speech, too.
Yeah.
For sure, man.
Yeah.
And that team went on to annihilate the other team after a Will Patton speech. I'm like, they didn't need Denzel. I mean, he's an incredible coach. Coach Boone's awesome. But, man, why don't you just have Will Patton give you a speech? They'd be undefeated every year.
Anytime.
Every single time. They win every damn game on the schedule.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. So the Will Patton Award for Intensity, we named after Will Patton because he's the most intense actor. He, no matter what he's doing, no matter how dumb or good, he's been in great movies, he's been in stupid ones. He always brings 110% intensity.
He was in Roadhouse too.
Role. That's what I'm saying.
That's what. Yeah.
Like the man hasn't made it, doesn't have a perfect filmography of quality, but what he personally brings to everything he does is
he sought out because he makes projects better.
Yeah, for sure. And so who was the most intense actor in this? That even though they're in Under Siege 2, Dark Territory, they're like, I'm treating this like a serious thing and I'm bringing the heat. Who brought the heat for you in this movie?
Eric Bogosian.
Eric Bogosian.
Or
Travis
Eric Bogosian,
Dane.
Eric Bogosian, however.
Yeah,
I'll say this.
Yeah.
This is why I keep saying Travis freaking Dane.
Yeah.
Because, like, this is a quintessential villain in this horrible dog shit movie. Travis Dane is one of the best villains of the 90s.
Of the whole decade.
Yes.
Even better than the Jamaican guy in Out for Justice?
It's Mark for Death.
Or was Mark for Death? Sorry.
It's okay.
I'm not mad that I don't know Seagal movies well enough to know that. But I knew, you know what I'm talking about. I don't even think he's the best Seagal villain from the 90s.
Travis Dane?
No.
Really?
No, that guy from Marked for Death.
Oh,
man.
yeah, no.
Oh, come on. Who's the best Seagal villain in the 90s to you?
Tommy Lee Jones and
Under Siege. I take it back.
Stranix?
I didn't think about that.
Stranix and
Stranix. Yes, he's not
Under
even the
Siege.
best in the Under Siege series.
Travis Dane?
Better than Stranix?
Yes.
What?
Yes.
Oh, come on, Ryan.
Come on. I like
How? What? You?
yeah.
Were you born upside down?
Yeah. Yeah. That's how most babies are born.
Bob wasn't. Bob came out sideways.
I came out sideways. My mom didn't kick or scream or nothing.
Bob came out
I came
fist
out
first.
in a car.
The problem was Bob came out fist first, and that's why
I did. I widened that
my
vagina.
gosh.
they were like,
Blast her
"Do you
with
see
that
a head?"
fist.
No, sir. It's a fist. It's a fist with a skull crossbow tattoo on it.
He already had these tats on his. Was born with them.
Forged in the fires of awesomeness.
All right, look, we'll keep this thing rolling. I went with Everett McGill. I gave my Will Patton Award to Everett McGill. The guy
And
that
that's
played
fair. I'll give it that.
To me, looking back, he's. I say this all the time. I'll probably say this for another 500 episodes. Acting is truth. I believed this guy was as capable as they made him to be, even minus the last fight scene. But the fact that he commanded, sometimes these guys that are in charge of these teams of mercenaries, like these guys wouldn't listen to a word this guy said.
Oh, no.
Right?
Everett McGill brought it. Like, he was a leader.
I believed this guy could lead a team of mercenaries. Same way I believed Stromae in The Last Stand. Like they had the bro mercenaries with the giant jack dudes with the braided goatees.
Right.
And I'm like, who would those guys listen to?
Right.
I believe it. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So that's why I gave it to Everett McGill. Who's your Will Patton Award nominee, Bob?
Everett McGill.
All right. That's 2 for Everett McGill. What was it about him that you loved?
The same thing. I can't sum.
Yeah.
You said it perfectly. I can't sum.
Well, we've got a couple patrons playing with us, so it's not Travis Dane hasn't lost yet. We'll see what these guys have to say, and maybe it'll turn around because Jack Dean joining us back again. We love Jack. He also went with Eric Bogosian as Travis Dane.
There you go.
And that's a 2-2 tie now. He's not quite as over the top as Tommy Lee Jones in the original. And
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, but does that mean Jack thinks he's better than Tommy Lee Jones?
Look,
Tommy was over the top in the
a little bit,
but I love
I love Tommy over the top.
If Tommy
too.
Lee Jones and Gary Busey weren't in the first movie, I wouldn't even.
Oh, it's a piece of dog crap.
It's a piece of crap without.
I know.
those guys.
Yeah.
Right. Then you got Seagal and the girl jumping out of the cake area in the movie.
Yeah.
No, not gonna work.
I would like to see more cake jumping, but
He goes, so he's less over the top in the original and doesn't really offer any kind of physical threat, but I liked the insanity that he brought to this super nerd bad guy role, and definitely a totally different kind of villain than Tommy Lee Jones was in the first one.
Very much.
So it's 2-2. So it's going to fall to Craig Soto, our longtime listener. This guy's been here forever. We love Craig Soto. He wrote in, but he breaks the tie. He gives it to Everett McGill as Marcus Penn.
Dang. All right.
But hey, you know, it's good that it was close between those two. I feel like it's fitting
sucks to suck, Ryan.
that it came down to those two. He says, I felt like he took the role seriously. His character was believable.
Yep.
There we go.
Yep.
And made smart decisions, except for giving Sarah a grenade. That was stupid. I agree. Sarah just didn't utilize it properly. There were even parts of the movie I was actually rooting for him to win. See, Craig and me are on the same page here.
Yeah.
So congratulations to Everett McGill. No relation to Bruce McGill, but the second McGill to be nominated for awards here on our show.
Hey,
Congrats.
good for him.
Good for him. The next award we give out is a very, very special award. It's the Michael Dudikoff Trash Can Full of Dirt Award.
Trash can, oh trash can, it's a trash can full of dirt, yeah.
I will honor the code.
All right. So this award we've been giving out since Spy Hard, which was very early on in the show's
the inception of the award.
the inception of the award with Andy Griffith as, what was the guy's name? The General, I don't even remember.
General...
It was WD-40.
WD-40. Steel.
Whatever. It doesn't matter. He was so bad in that movie. Kurt was basically trying to defend that he was awesome. I was like, he literally had the acting ability of a trash can filled with dirt, which is how we ended up here.
And here we are.
So now we give out this award. And for, those of you who've been listening, our last episode we just did was on American Ninja 4. We've been talking lately about changing the award because Michael Dudikoff, by all accounts, seems to be a good dude and actually improved greatly from American Ninja 1. And there's lots of talk about it going to Tom Arnold because of his horrible performance in McHale's Navy and pretty much every other movie he's done since True Lies, other than True Lies.
Hating on McHale's
There was talk about giving it to James Corden because he's just a trash person and he's terrible in every movie that he's in, right? But all the stuff we threw around, the timing has worked out. And so I am happy to announce that as of today, we are changing the name. It is no longer going to be the Michael Dudikoff Trash Can Full of Dirt, but will henceforth be known as the Steven Seagal Trash Can Filled with Dirt.
James.
Yeah. A lot of thought went into this. A lot of discussion.
I couldn't think of a better honor because as I was watching this movie the other day and last night, trying to watch it last night for my secondary, opinion, and I was thinking to myself, a trash can just isn't enough.
Look,
a dumpster isn't enough. This is the Steven Seagal toxic dump full of shit.
Here's the thing. I went through a phase where I was a big Seagal fan, and he made, and this is not to say he made, to me, 4 or 5 good movies. I love Hard to Kill. Right? We talked about that on the show. Right? Above the Law, Marked for Death.
Yep.
These Out for Justice.
The first
Under Siege one.
Yeah.
Then it really kind of fell off a cliff. But the more and more I found out about Steven Seagal, and the more I looked into some of his other stuff, it fits on so many different levels.
Yeah.
It fits one because he's a terrible actor, and so chiefly that's what the award's about. He's never been even in his good movies, he's never been a great actor. Even in Hard to Kill, it was like, come on, dude, like just a minimum of effort, right?
Right.
Now he's at the point where he's literally making movies where he won't get out of a chair the whole movie. There's a movie he made recently where he has a fight scene sitting down because he refuses. The filmmakers have to shoot around him because he won't stand up.
Yeah, that's garbage.
Why does anybody even entertain that?
He's literally like a human trash can filled with dirt. This thing is immovable.
That is him.
This thing sits here the same way he does.
Absolutely, looks good.
So it fits in that way, and then it also fits in that the man is a trash can of a person.
Yeah.
In the way that he treats stunt people, his fellow actresses, his assistants that he's been multiply accused of sexually assaulting, and the fact that he's just clearly a BS artist, and the whole reason he's even in the entertainment industry is a bunch of crap because of his mob connections that he ended up getting his way into Hollywood through a producer.
Well, because
they literally
he was
put him through.
A producer. Well, he was working in Los Angeles as an Aikido instructor.
Was the original story, but now it's been since been theorized and posited based on some testimony in different court cases where he was being extorted by the mob and stuff, that he had mob ties before that, and that was those mob ties pressuring that producer to put him in movies is how he ended up. Now, again,
wait a minute.
This is all time out. This is all alleged. Okay, this is in a way not been essentially proven on the record.
Unsubstantiated.
It's unsubstantiated, but it all rings true to what a lot of different people have said and are saying. So take that with a grain of salt. Maybe that's not true. So even if the fact that his reason for being in the business is not his mob ties, there's enough even without that to qualify for this.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and the fact that he's still a BS artist. But even if that last non-substantiated piece is true, it makes it 10 times worse. The only reason this guy even got a shot at making these things, potentially, possibly, allegedly, could have been because of his ties.
And then he goes on to say that he's been a lawman for 20 years in New Orleans.
Oh, that's another one. I don't know, but while I was making all these movies and running the dojo in Japan, I also was a cop for 20 years. I'm surprised you didn't know that.
Yeah. I was Jefferson County Sheriff in Louisiana for 20 years.
I could make fun of this guy for 6 hours a day if I wanted. I would, and I would enjoy it.
We would be here for a long time.
Okay. I know there's fans, and you guys might be listening and getting pissed off right now. I know there are fans of Seagal. I was a fan of Seagal. I'm still a fan of some of his early movies.
I was going to say, I'll still watch Exit Wounds.
For sure.
I'll still watch Hard to Kill.
But the more you look out there, the more you hear about him, the less and less I appreciate the man. And so if this causes you so much stress that you can no longer listen to the show because we're denigrating this great person, Steven Seagal, we might not be the show for you. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Stop by your nearest Walgreens and get a tampon.
Okay. So all that to say, I don't know how much of that I'll actually leave in, but
I'll leave it all in. It was good.
The point is this. Henceforth, Dudikoff will be off. Seagal is on. Who's your nomination for this? And I should say this. And the last thing I'll say on the whole matter is his name is actually pronounced Steven Seagal. That was his given name. He changed it because he thought it sounded cooler to say Steven Seagal after he got some bad press originally and people were ripping and making fun of the name. So he changed the pronunciation of it.
You don't say.
His name is Steven Seagal, like the bird.
He basically has a small penis problem.
Yeah.
According to a lot of women.
Yeah. Right.
Let's just all unanimously just say he is.
Is that your trash can nomination?
He's the trash can.
Is it your nomination?
I told you, he's a landfill.
He is my nomination.
He is a landfill full of dirt.
Yes. It's not unanimous because one of our patrons, which I don't blame him, gave it to somebody else. But Jack Dean also gave it to Steven Seagal. He said, this movie is a good reminder that Seagal is an absolute terrible actor. He's also a trash can full of dirt in real life. Thank you, Jack. We appreciate you, brother.
I like this guy.
And Craig Soto came in and he gave it to the guy smoking the cigarette. He gave it to the CIA guy.
Really?
Yeah, he says the whole movie he's just standing there smoking and he's totally weird about it too. If he wasn't smoking, he was lighting a cigarette up. Everything he did had to do with a cigarette. Honorable mention to Katherine Heigl as Sarah.
Yeah,
so, but
fair.
with 4 out of 5 votes, Steven Seagal is going to win the first ever Steven Seagal trash can full of dirt.
That's great. Good for him.
Good for him. He deserved
The way
it.
it
He
should
deserves it.
Now we can move on with our lives and get a chance to rip on him in every single stinking episode.
That's great.
Not that we'll talk about him every episode, but we'll get to name this after him anyway. All right, guys. Top 3 performers. Ready?
Yeah, absolutely.
Who are your top 3 in this movie?
Morris Chestnut, Everett McGill, and Eric Bogosian.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. I anticipated that the 2 bad guys would be on most of the top 3s. Mm-hmm. That third spot, though, Morris Chestnut.
Yeah.
What was it about him you liked?
That he carried the movie from the good guy standpoint.
That's true. I'll give you that.
Yeah. I almost wish that it was a movie called Dark Territory that was just about an ordinary porter named Bobby Zacks who had to take on this group of bad guys.
Oh my gosh, that would have been phenomenal.
And if you just left Casey Ryback out of it completely and it was like, hey, this porter who maybe more or less could even bake a cake.
I put it in the microwave.
Like, you literally could have kept every single scene in the movie that was there, and it could have just been Morris Chestnut versus...
Instead of Seagal just casually walking around the train.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, but the problem is that Porter doesn't know how to make a phone out of a PDA. Or send a toast fax.
Or he doesn't.
Toast facts.
Look, he doesn't know.
I'm
how to
making a
make
bomb out of vodka. And
He doesn't know how to
coconut
make a cocktail out of glass.
That's right. All right, Bob, who's your top 3 performers?
I would say Eric Bogenstein, Everett McGill, and then MVP of the whole movie would be Morris Chestnut.
You guys both went Morris Chestnut. Yeah. All right, I left him off.
Okay.
Not that I didn't appreciate his performance. I thought he was good.
Yeah.
So it's not, he'd probably be number 4. But actually, again, Everett McGill, number 1, Eric Bogosian, number 2. Okay, top 2 guys.
Yeah.
I gave Katherine Heigl the 3rd spot on my top 3.
Okay.
Because I'm, and Bob, you know this, I'm not a fan of hers.
No, I know.
I generally avoid her movies. Again, from what I've heard, not great to work with.
No, once again, she got to that point of fame where then she just became that egotistical person that no one wants to work with.
Right.
And it's all right. Well, fine.
So not a fan. But I want to give credit where credit's due. I thought this was well acted on her part. Lots of emotion, lots of tears, some intensity even, especially that last. Now, her character didn't make the right decisions, but I thought Katherine, especially considering what she had to deal with in making this movie, I thought really came through as a 16-year-old and did a really good job.
So you got her on the best list, and we got someone with her with the trash can.
Well, that happens every once in a while.
I know.
But I'm trying to give her some props. And you know what? Craig, I'll never, ever fault you for giving an honorable mention to Katherine Heigl as a trash can because, again, not a huge fan of hers. But, yeah, in this one, I got to go that way. So let's see what the patrons had to say. Jack had Peter Green at number 3 as mercenary number 1.
Hey, go, yeah. Heck yeah.
Hey,
I love when this guy shows up as a bad guy in a movie. He always comes off as such a sleaze bag. He executed the bad guy movie trope of talking. Yes, let's give him the trope alert here. Talking too long before killing somebody flawlessly.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to give you an option. You want to see it coming or do you want to turn around?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you've now given Casey Ryback enough time to murder you. Good job.
Good job, guys.
Number 2, Eric Bogosian as Travis Dane. I really liked his over-the-top performance, and I thought he was great as the main bad guy. And number 1, Everett McGill as Marcus Penn.
All right.
This is another guy I love seeing pop up in movies. He actually hasn't done a ton. He's got a pretty short filmography, but he's been in good stuff.
I was going to say, so Everett McGill has kind of he was in the 80s and the 90s, and that was about it.
He did come back for the Twin Peaks revival.
Yeah, as Big Ed. Right. Yeah, he was Big Ed in Twin Peaks. But other than that, you had him as Killifer and License to Kill.
Oh, that's right. Bond.
Yeah. I know he was like the Colonel in My Fellow Americans, if you ever saw that movie. I personally really liked that movie.
Oh, yeah, with Jack Lemmon and James Garner.
Yeah.
My Fellow Americans.
Walter Matthau.
Walter Matthau, my apologies.
Said he was a close second for the Will Patton Award for me, but I think he was probably my favorite part of the movie. I use his assumption as the mother of all F-ups line all the time and didn't even realize it was from this movie until I rewatched it. Right? Gotta love when that happens.
Yep, exactly.
Craig said he had a hard time picking these 3. He said all the guys who were blown up or set on fire is his number 3. One, like giving it to the stunt. Can we just give it up to the stunt guys?
I was
going to
say, let's give number 3 to Steven Seagal, stuntman.
Yeah, his name is Rhino Michaels. I just looked him up.
Okay, good.
Rhino Michaels.
Nice.
Special thank you for putting up with that.
Credit to that guy, and credit to all the stuntmen that had to get smacked around by this trash can.
Full of dirt.
And, putting up with all that crap and the jumps and the fire and the immolations and all that. Old school stunts.
Right.
Give it up for these guys. These guys
Thank you for jumping on that train.
For sure. And Craig says, I love seeing the old stunts and thought they did great. Number 2 gave to Kurtwood Smith as General Cooper.
Interesting.
The dad from that 70s. Or I probably shouldn't. To me, he's always been the guy that kills Murphy in RoboCop.
Yeah, exactly.
That's who that guy is.
Yeah.
I felt like his character was believable. I thought he was decent in this movie. And the number 1, Everett McGill, is Marcus Penn again. So lots of number 1s for Bogosian and for Everett McGill. Clearly, it seems like across the board, these are the 2 people that come out of this movie looking like the biggest winners.
For sure.
Out of Under Siege 2. Yeah. Even when I remember seeing it back when I was a teenager, we loved those guys.
Yeah.
Those guys were awesome, for sure. But what would be even more awesome? If Arnold Schwarzenegger was in this movie, would it be better?
I don't think the train could hold him.
The trains collide at the end and he just stops it with his hand.
Yeah.
He's like, hold on, I'm going to be Spider-Man here. And remember when Spider-Man did the thing?
I was just going to say, yeah. Or like, he's like, the brakes won't release. Or the air thing. He's like, oh, the cable's not releasing. And Schwarzenegger just steps between the trains and just goes like, and just pushes like
to separate the passengers?
Yeah, to push the hostage car
What
down
if he
the
was
line.
the porter?
If Arnold Schwarzenegger was the porter? Wow.
Let's think.
I mean, listen to me.
You know what?
I had it in my pocket, but it fell out. Okay, but if you want something, I've got something else in my other pocket. You sure you want it? You want it now? Because what I have here in my other pocket is your ass.
Oh, that would have been great. If this movie were just called Dark Territory with Arnold Schwarzenegger as Bobby Zax,
Yes.
that would have been. It would have. This movie would have been one of the best action movies of the 90s.
100%. And it's the easiest swap. And sometimes we like to play around with this. The easiest swap in the world is it's Die Hard on a train, it's speed, whatever you want to do, and the one man against 20 terrorists, Schwarzenegger. Print the money.
Yeah.
Right.
Add another
Print the money.
Add another $200 million to box office revenue.
Same script.
Right there. Same script.
Print the money.
Made the same way.
Yeah.
Same director.
Literally made the same way.
Give it to Jeff Murphy.
Yeah.
Let him make the movie.
Yeah.
Matt Reeves' script.
Right. Just Matt Reeves, he's 22 years old, laughing to the bank with his college script. Like, I just sold a spec script
He had
for a
to make it.
Schwarzenegger film.
Right.
Like,
And at the end,
man.
when Dane's hanging off the chopper, he's like, this chopper is closed, and he just slides the door.
That's awesome.
He gets up there and he's like, we got to the chopper. He could do that too, and paying off the get to the chopper line from his other movies.
Always his chopper.
Right?
Oh, the chopper jokes.
I mean, it'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
And Jack agrees. He goes 10,000% yes. Swap out Seagal for Schwarzenegger, and this movie instantly would have been better. Arnold's brand of comedy and action movies would have been a great addition to this. It's a Casey Ryback. Just have him play Casey Ryback. Like they recast him from Under Siege 1 to Stallone. Casey Ryback's on this plane. And he's looking swole.
He's looking swole.
You get the guy, you get Fat Boy in a girdle or Arnold Schwarzenegger. This would have been a year after True Lies.
Yeah.
He still could have done it.
Absolutely.
Would have been fantastic.
This would have been. This was
Doesn't make
still
it,
prime.
I'm still wrapping my mind around that. Like, did David Harbour make it great to have a dad bod for Stranger Things?
Yeah.
Own your dad bod.
Own the dad bod.
It's okay to be a dad bod actor.
Well, he got to a point where he couldn't hide it anymore, right? When he's
he
doing
still had-
Exit Wounds and he's doing these other movies where he's like, the one he did with Ja Rule, and he's totally
Half Past Dead.
Half Past Dead.
Yeah.
I mean, there's
With
no
also
hiding it.
Morris Chestnut.
Yeah.
But but like what you're saying is like Seagal never was gonna do that. He was never gonna be that person because of his ego.
Right. His ego's out of control.
Extremely out of control.
You could have Schwarzenegger looking swole. You could have Stallone being swole. Like here's your prime '90s time for these guys. Dad bod action hero.
Yes.
Jacked up action hero. Whatever.
You don't have to be that way.
It's the ego thing that just drains the whole project.
You can be, and these guys all had ego to a certain extent. Stallone, Schwarzenegger, especially at their heyday. I'm sure they were still.
So do you want to hear a funny Seagal story that actually is with all the guys we're talking about?
Yeah.
So Stallone had a party at his house somewhere in Miami. Stallone told this story. You can look it up on YouTube. And he had Arnold Schwarzenegger, Steven Seagal, Madonna, Bruce Willis, Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Oh, what I would give to be at that party.
I mean, what do you think Madonna gave to be at that party?
I don't want to think about that.
Okay,
but
Never mind. Continue with the story.
all those guys are gentlemen.
Yeah.
-1.
-1.
So Seagal starts with
I don't know if you knew this, Madonna. He cornered her in the bathroom, but it was my idea to throw this party and invite you specifically. So I'm glad you're here.
And this is really my house. I just let Stallone
Let's
stay
let
here.
Stallone borrow it.
I just let Stallone borrow
Sorry,
it.
go ahead. Go
No,
ahead.
it's okay. So allegedly, Steven Seagal was antagonizing and pestering Van Damme, who was, this is like you said, Stallone said it was like 97.
Yes, I think I heard about this. Continue.
And Van Damme was on some serious, like we all, it's no secret.
Oh, in the 90s, yeah.
Van Damme did cocaine.
Well,
Talking
he was
about
on
Coke and
coke.
pre-workout.
Yeah.
Coke and pre-workout.
yeah,
Van Damme
yeah.
invented Coke and pre-workout.
Right? That was his
And God
diet.
bless him for it. That's the way he
He
wanted to
doesn't
do it.
remember half the movies he made in the 90s. Yes.
But
That's awesome.
so Van Damme had enough and challenged him, and somehow Seagal snuck out of the house and left.
Yeah, he bailed.
He bailed.
I heard about this.
Snuck out of the bathroom window, right?
Yeah, snuck out and bailed.
Yeah.
Got in a car, got somewhere and bailed.
Yeah.
Went to a local strip joint, and Van Damme was not like, no, he's not getting away that easy. Tracked him down to the strip joint.
I love it. Coked out Van Damme.
Coked out Van
kicks the door open. Spinning toe kicks the door of the strip club open. Right? Backlit. He's backlit. Yeah.
Does the splits on the stage
Yes.
in the bar.
Are you man enough to fight with me? He says.
Oh, my
yeah.
God.
Right? Could you imagine?
Why would you pick on Van Damme or any of those people? I'm like thinking to myself, probably the most calm, chilled dude in that room at that party had to be Bruce Willis.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And even Van Damme was a very affable, fun-loving guy.
Yeah, he was always a fun-loving guy. He just had a drug problem, an alcohol problem.
Right. Dude.
But he never... So anyway, he finds him at the strip joint and confronts him again. This time he's fully enraged. Like, cocaine has kicked in.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to kill you.
I mean, he's done line after line now as he's hunting down Seagal. He's just in the car like...
And Seagal being I don't want to,
Yes.
finds a way to sneak away again.
I'll tell you.
He dispatched his army of strippers. That's like... I'm telling you, Seagal probably was just like passing out stacks of hundreds and being like, get in his way.
It's like, hey, that's Jean-Claude Van Damme over there.
Yeah.
Go make him happy.
Wait.
Right.
He's
not as good as me, but I want you to dance for him.
He's not as good as
You
me.
first pick on the guy.
Yeah.
And then he says, okay, let's settle this like men.
Yeah.
And you not being a man, sneak away. How did you get invited to that party?
I know we've got to wrap that. Well, look, I want to continue more of this in the Patreon after show. So we'll talk more about this. And I want to get to our final rating here.
I think we need to make a biopic about that particular incident.
It'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
I'll play Bruce Willis.
A what if, and if they'd actually fought. Yeah, we'll talk about that. But for now, let's get to our final rating. So ultimately, when we do a movie, we decide if the critics were right. Like to qualify for our show, it had to get a certain rating. Is it really a bad movie, just full stop, no redeeming quality, or is it enjoyable? In that case, it's a bad movie that rules, or is it everyone's wrong? This is a good movie, full stop, objectively and subjectively. Ryan, where do you come down on this one?
I'll tell you this.
Yeah.
I was watching this movie, and Steven Seagal was, doing his fight scenes. And my brother had sent something to a group chat that my siblings and I are in about a guy doing a TED Talk about the American Vexillological Association, which Vexillological Association dabbles in the study of flags and flag design.
Of course.
I literally stopped watching Under Siege 2 to watch an 18-minute TED Talk about the American Vexillological Association. That is how boring Steven Seagal's fight scenes are. So, as you ask me, what is this?
Yeah.
Keep
It's
in
a
mind,
bad movie that rules. This movie literally is so awesome. And I just wish Steven Seagal didn't exist.
Yeah. So I love that you always come out of left field, and I love it. So
what the hell was that?
From what I understand, you enjoy the crap out of this movie, just hate all the parts that have Steven Seagal in it.
Yes.
All right. Fair enough.
Yes.
Bob, here's your chance, man. Why is this movie awesome? Or would you even rate it as a good movie?
It's a good movie that rules.
A good movie.
Good movie, full stop.
Full stop.
Over there.
All because of everyone else in the movie minus Steven Seagal.
But he's in a half of the movie.
Like I said, I could picture anybody else in that role.
Let me.
Bob's like, there's a 40-minute cut of this movie. That would be.
Hold on. The fight scenes, I liked. The shootout, I liked. The build-up, the music, the editing, everything about it, I loved. I watched it hundreds of times growing up.
Yeah.
Watched it with Dad.
Yeah.
Dad loved this movie.
I know.
I'm not saying that that's not steering me to say it's a good movie that rules. I'm just saying I have no reason to say I don't have a intellectual smart answer for this for all you nerds out there in dumbass land. It's just a freaking movie. It's good. I don't dissect movies like that guy over there does. I look at it and I go, yeah, that entertained me for 2 hours. It's a good movie.
You know what? In the dissection of it, James, this is a good movie that sucks.
No, don't. I hate when you do this. I hate when you do this.
So I'm going to say it's a good movie that rules.
Do you know this movie practically invented motion capture?
Let's talk about that less.
Because they didn't have green screens for the background, so they actually cut up tennis balls and they glued tennis balls on the windows of the train to then track the motion so that they could superimpose the backgrounds. And I was like, wait a minute. You mean to tell me that Under Siege 2 did this ghetto rigging of motion capture?
How about it?
I'm like, what?
Good for them.
Moving on.
Moving on. All right, look, I'm gonna say that I think we feel the same way, but I think for me, there's just an objective standard that a movie has to meet, and it doesn't meet that. So to me, it's a bad movie because Seagal ruins it. You know, like Steven Seagal makes it it's a bad movie that rules. Let me be clear. I enjoy it for all the same reasons we talked about. Shootouts, score, bad guys, fantastic.
Action scenes.
But everything. I can't call it a good movie because Seagal ruins it from reaching that height. This is for me. Okay. You know what I'm saying? So enjoyable movie. Certainly watchable.
Oh yeah.
Certainly watchable.
Very.
But yeah. Bad movie that rules. Let's see what the patrons had to say.
Let's do it.
Jack, even with Steven Seagal being a trash can full of dirt in this is still a bad movie that rules for me. The movie overall is a pretty decent 90s action flick. It's got the standard ensemble of 90s bad guys. The action picks up pretty quick, and it comes in just a little over 90 minutes. So Jack's like right there with us, man.
100 minutes on the dot.
That's right.
Perfect.
Yep. Craig, Craig's got a lot to say about this, which I appreciate. I was excited to watch this movie, even though I had never seen it before. Oh, we had somebody coming in fresh.
Wow, fresh
eyes.
All right.
I remember seeing Under Siege when I was growing up and loving it. I am not the biggest Seagal fan, even though he has some good movies in the past and because of the crazy stories you hear about him today. For this movie, though, I would say that it is a bad movie, hands down.
Wow.
The pacing is extremely fast. It honestly felt like Seagal wrote the script and knew the beats to hit, but didn't know how to do them correctly.
Yep.
The editing was horrendous. There were so many times they were cutting back and forth between characters and plots for no reason. Oh, make sure we cut back to watch us sit in the baggage car.
He's right.
It just seems frantic rather than engaging. The characters were awful and had terrible dialogue. Katherine Heigl was terrible as Sarah. That's the one part I disagree with you here, buddy, but I get
Well, even the bad guys are great too.
Her character was bipolar all throughout the movie, and I think the movie would have been so much better leaving her out entirely. I hated Seagal in this movie. His character was such a douche to Bobby, and it seemed like he would go out of his way to make fun of him. This is the porter.
Yeah.
At one point, he even points his gun directly in his face. I forgot about that.
Yep. Uh-huh.
There were some cool fights and death scenes, but most of it just seemed like a modern fighting videos where the people he's fighting just have to oversell what Seagal is doing to them. I highly commend all of the stuntmen who worked at him because they... Let me say that sentence again. I'm sorry, I'm getting stuffed up. I highly commend all of the stuntmen who worked with him because they totally sold getting killed and made his fights believable. I think the worst fight scene was the last fight scene against Everett McGill. At one point, Seagal is knifeless and slaps McGill around and then keeps doing it as if to embarrass him. This is a bad, bad movie. That from Craig Soto.
Hey, Craig Soto, Barbie's coming out soon. Maybe that'll be more to your liking. You know,
No.
Ryan Gosling.
He says he likes some of Seagal's other movies, just not this one.
That's okay.
No, you should like this.
You should like this one.
I would love if there's a scene in Barbie where they have a scene like this one where they're knife fighting and smacking each other around.
Oh, dude.
That'd be
I
incredible.
just started watching Ryan's favorite movie, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, a couple weeks ago.
Oh, yeah. He loves that movie.
He loves that movie.
God.
Speaking of next week,
It's a movie about nothing, and it made so much money.
we can't start this debate 2.5 hours into this episode. All right, we'll touch on
How
that.
does Quentin Tarantino make so much money on nothing?
We will talk about that later. Next week, I want to let you guys know what we're doing. We've got a first horror movie we've done in a while, and we've done a couple. This is called. This is a movie from 1982, I believe, called Basket Case.
Huh.
Okay. And I don't want to give too much away to spoil anything, but other than what I've seen, which is just the trailer, it looks really low budget and totally bonkers and should be great fodder for the show. So tune in next week for us. And I believe it's going to be Nicole and Charles and Ryan, and we're going to be talking about Basket Case.
I can't wait for another Charles girlfriend experience.
Tune in.
Which one? We got
never know.
Madela or Mueller?
Madela.
All right.
Yeah.
The doctor.
We'll be here. The doctor.
The doctor is in.
So can't wait for that. And, I can't wait till the next time we get to do another Seagal movie, guys. I mean, having you two in the studio together, I can just feel the love between you. And I very much appreciate this.
By the way, your teeth are crooked.
By the way, your face is crooked.
I know,
And-
my nose is crooked.
On behalf of the Human Move a Debt, gotta start that over. And on behalf of the Human Movie Database, Ryan Farrell, and the Manimal Bob Hauser, I'm James Hauser, and I want to say thank you for listening.
Schwarzenegger was never available to make this movie.
Low altitude turbulence. It's coming.
Was doing his taxes.
Instead of watching this movie. Don't watch a TED Talk. Watch Seagal slap around a guy in the kitchen.
Everett McGill, Peter Green, Eric Bogasin, and Morris Chestnut. 'Cause I love mayonnaise.
I don't know if you knew this, but I invented Bad Movies Rule.
He would say that too, because he's an asshole.